Are you ready like Reggie?
I am
Was Duddy trying to say something?
Huh?
Oh, okay. I was like to say your voice is not coming through. All right, we all ready? What game modes do we want to play first?
Bro, I already started the stream, so whatever you want. Do quick play, gunfight. I don't care. Anything.
So do we want to talk about the Call of Duty beta first?
I mean,
Are
since
we
we're
liking
kind of
this shit?
streaming it, because we're kind of streaming it instead of doing the normal. Yeah. First, let's say this.
It's fantastic.
It is awesome. It is an awesome game. It is fun. This is one of those pre-orders.
Gorgeous.
This is one of those pre-orders that I'm actually happy about for once. So that's the thing.
Hopefully
yeah,
it's
looks
not.
gorgeous. It's smooth as butter.
Hopefully it's not.
Oh yeah.
doing this
Is this running
bullshit.
good? Is this running good for you, Pete, on your PC?
Yeah, it runs great. I get no less than 120 something frames.
So, Duddy, you're not really much of a Call of Duty guy. What do you think of the beta so far?
I've never been a fan of the game, but it's off the charts, dude.
Hey, it made me go out and get some energy drinks just to play this.
Can we get that
It's
in a
like-
quote in the audience, please? Duddy says, "Off the charts, 2019."
Here's your energy drinks right here.
Oh.
Jameson and
Jameson and Britney Spears' panties. What? I may or may not have had a little bit of drink before I got on here. This is like my beer 3, I think, beer 4, one of the two.
Beer
Don't
4.
remember.
By the end of the night, he'll be like 6 beers down.
Maybe 8, give or take.
Give or take, man. Okay, we're probably gonna have to back out, and everybody's gonna have to join on me then because we're having that bug again.
Yeah, this is the only thing that I don't like about this game is it doesn't
Yeah,
know how to party us up.
By the way, you guys don't have to leave the party, only me. So I'll restart the game, and you guys can all join off of me.
All right, girl. So, Rev, late at night, what do you think about getting spanked and choked before ejaculating?
Oh, Jesus. My God. Put me under pressure early. Oh, my fucking God. I plead the 5th.
And do you believe in safe words?
I plead the
Fuck
5th.
safe words, bro.
I plead the motherfucking 5th. I plead the motherfucking 5th. That's what I have to say about that.
So did you end up leaving or no?
Yeah, I left. You guys are all gonna have to join on me.
No, you mean pull us with you, which is exactly what you did. So that's fine. Wait, there's
Welcome to
Duddy,
the
there's
beta.
Sling.
This is the one problem that I have with COD. It's just this issue, and everything else is fine. They need to nerf a few things though. The claymores need to be nerfed though.
Why? Because you can't see?
No, the range of them are way too far. I think me and Gangster were talking about that earlier in the day.
Oh, you mean like picking up like a couple of guys is what you mean?
Yeah, the range of the explosion, the range of them, when you walk around them is way too far.
So
The range of it is way too far.
Are you still in the party with us right now or no?
No, I left because here. Invite. I'm inviting everybody to party. Invite.
There we go. Don't forget Sling and the other guy.
Yeah, Sling will invite him.
So, I mean, good old Gangster here, as always, has got some topics to talk about. Obviously, we got some AMD stuff to talk about. Obviously, we want to talk about a little bit about this Modern Warfare beta, which has been fucking addicting as shit, because I've been playing it off and on since,
Let's get right off to the rip, Brimstone, Gears 5 Xbox. Got an unboxing coming soon. God, that hype! I am super jelly. No joke. Jelly.
Gears of War 5 Ultimate Edition. It is a beast ass fucking Xbox. I love this thing. I took pictures of it, posted it on my Insta and my Twitter, and yo, like seriously, I thought that was just a paint job. Actually, like I didn't think Microsoft actually put work into it, but they did. Everything's etched in. It's textured. It lights up when you turn it on. It makes the Gears of War sounds when you turn it on. The controller is fucking butter smooth. It's completely etched into the controller, so it's not just a paint job. You actually feel the texture differences and whatnot. So, I mean, overall, it's a really impressive piece of fucking hardware. I've noticed the differences right off the bat when it comes from the original Xbox to now, and I gotta say, there's a huge difference. I didn't think it was gonna be that big of a difference, but it is. And being a PC gamer and all, I can see the differences between both. Original Xbox, it was a little bit more blurry. There was a little bit more texture popping. There was way more of a fuzzy feel to it than there are currently with the Xbox One X. The Xbox One X, everything just feels more smooth, more vibrant, a little more detail here and there, less granulated when it comes to the actual filter when you look at the game. It's clear as shit. Like, it is, I mean, there's still texture popping, as you guys can see in the live stream. Like, there is a little bit. But like not like if I was to play this on my original Xbox, it would be a lot more, like a lot more. This game is addicting. The console is a beast.
What topic do you want to talk about next, gangster? Got one?
Shit, man. I mean, we got so many.
So guys, remember we're gonna get a little bit of the
Capture and defend the objective.
what do we call it?
Securing
We call it the the Holy of Gangster.
The Gospel of Gangster.
Gospel of Gangster. Yeah, we're gonna get a little Gospel of Gangster tonight.
I guess we could start off with the real Gospel of Gangster. Shit that I called, but I want to look. I want to go back and watch a bunch of the old game talks. Cause I want to figure out exactly when I called this shit, because I did. I called this shit like 2 years ago or some shit like that. But a streamer, some blue-haired fucking genderqueer something or other, reported another Overwatch player for verbal abuse because they what was the I gotta see the actual thing, because straight up fucking verbal abuse. Let's see. Where the fuck did it go? Got too many fucking tabs open.
Hey, by the way, if we get A and B, keep away from C. Let them have C.
You're needed at Bravo.
Because respawns will flip and then they'll be behind us.
So, Rami, don't know who the fuck that is,
Enemy cruise missile. Take
but
cover.
reported somebody for verbal abuse in Overwatch for saying there are only 2 genders.
Oh god.
And as far as I know, they banned the dude.
Really?
As far as I know. That's why I haven't actually looked, because I mean, I don't know how I would actually verify that. You know, other than if somebody actually wrote an article, like going into, because like I don't have the guy on my friends list or anything, so I don't know for sure if he's been banned or not. But there have been there were several people in the Reddit thread and a few other places that verified, you know, take it with a grain of salt, because you know it's not like, you know, nobody has proof or anything. But yeah, people are saying that this guy actually did, if not banned, at least like suspended or something like that. Yeah, they're saying that there are only 2 genders.
That's ridiculous.
That is hella stupid, bro.
Beyond stupid. And I called this shit like 2.5 years ago, when fucking Overwatch started getting all fucking SJWE, and they started, I think it was then a little later that they implemented their anti-toxicity rules.
It's like Borderlands in their way, when you can't talk about flak the way, you know.
Flak, yeah,
It's
if you
same
misgender
shit.
flak.
Yeah, same shit.
Enemies taking Bravo.
But yeah, because as soon as these clowns, these moral busybodies and fucking bullies were all over the forums basically threatening Blizzard with mob action if they didn't institute these anti-toxicity, vague as fuck anti-toxicity
Yeah,
rules.
but here's my thing on that though. Like, where's the line though? What do we
That's-
draw the line on shit like this? Because that's just nitpicking at that point. So if I go online and I say, well, this gender is a female, am I gonna get banned on a platform at that point? You know what I mean? It's kind of ridiculously stupid.
That's what they want.
It's so stupid.
And that's exactly what I said when this shit started. Because I said this has nothing to do with toxicity or any of this shit, because you don't need any of this stuff. Especially for chat or you know, it's chat, you just not look at the chat, or for voice chat, you can just mute somebody if they're saying something you don't like. But no, they wanted to be able to report people in game and have actions taken against them for things other than threats or, you know, something that would actually necessitate a ban.
Right.
Well, this kind of goes with kind of what I've been going through on Twitter. Me and Brim have been back and forth. You know what's going on to me on Twitter about people singling out people over. Where do we draw the line, right? So, for instance, what's happening to me on Twitter, and Brimstone kind of agreed with me on this a little bit, is I don't understand. If you go and like shit on Twitter, right? Here's my thing. It's the same kind of like topic what we're talking about in a way. Where, for instance, if I go and like, you know, some boobies, or I go and like some cosplay, or, you know, anything online, why am I having to be censored for what I believe in, you know what I mean, or what I like, you know what I mean? Or if I gender role something, you know, and I think, you know, maybe I'm wrong, why should I have to be censored or banned or taken off of a platform? It's an easy situation on that note. Like, you can unfollow somebody, you can turn off chats, mute them. You know, on Twitter, it's so easy. You can literally go down into the post and mute said person.
I mean,
You don't like what you're seeing.
What's that quote? You know, how is cyberbullying a thing? Close your eyes. And I'm not gonna say it because we could get fucking banned off of YouTube, but, you know, close your eyes, nig, and, you know, walk away from the screen, turn it off. It's the same shit.
Right.
Yeah.
I think in this day and age, I think we're just too sensitive, and I think, you know, people need to grow up and literally rethink. You know, if you're gonna be online, there's gonna be a lot of shit said, and a lot of shit's gonna be seen. And one thing with the argument that I had on the one thing on Twitter, why do you have if you know 18 plus shit is happening on these platforms, right? On any streaming platform or gaming, and shit goes out the door, man. Like, if you really think about it, shit goes out the door. Why would you have your kids or any form of that shit looking at that shit while you're looking at it? You know what I mean? To me, I think just people are reaching nowadays, and it's really sad. And to that Overwatch thing, that guy should have never been banned. It's the same thing with the Spotify thing too. We were talking earlier about.
Yep.
I think people should not be banned either for that. Like, okay.
What Spotify thing? What are you talking about?
A Twitch streamer was banned for laughing that there were, because on Spotify there are 4 options for gender: male, female, decline to provide, and other.
Yeah.
And so a Twitch streamer was laughing at the fact that there was an other option for gender on Spotify, and Twitch banned it. And that I know for sure. That I know for sure.
And that follows in my same point, you know what I mean? I think it's ridiculous that people can't be what they want to be online. I think we're coming to this day and age where I think we're gonna get censored, and a lot of these platforms are condoning with these people over stupid reasons. Stupid.
Oh, it's hilarious. The same people that say, "Oh, we need to be inclusive and we need to,
Enemy UAV overhead.
accept everybody for who they are." Well, except if you have the wrong opinion, then we want to ban you off of everything
Well,
we possibly
here's
can.
my thing. These people want their cake and eat it all at once, and my thing is, it doesn't work that way. There is gonna be shit on any platform, and my thing to all of it is grow up. If you don't like what you're seeing, turn it off.
Dude, we are dealing with a generation that literally supports the ideals of forced perspectives
Right.
and being able to literally try to force the hand of the communities around them to cater to a minor, 2%, 1%, not even that,
Stand by.
maybe 0.003% of a community. Like, it's a fucking joke, dude. It's always been a joke.
Well, we didn't have this in the 90s.
The
We spoke
only
what
ones
we
that are
want.
laughing right now are me, you, Pete, and anybody else that finds this shit irrelevant and hysterically dumb. Like, these kids are idiots, dude. They're fucking morons.
Oh, bro, they would have
Well-
lost their minds if they were in a Call of Duty or
Take a look.
Counter-Strike open mic chat.
GG, all.
Like, oh my god,
They would
guys!
have lost their minds.
Don't you guys
bro.
know there's 36 different genders? Oh my god, you guys are such fucking
Well, if you really want to
lunatics.
go down, that rabbit hole, think about it in this aspect. If you really want to go down that rabbit hole, look what's happening in schools. We're taking away history because people are insensitive. So sensitive.
Don't
over
you mean
topics.
editing history? Like, that's the last thing I remember.
Revising history.
They've been revising
And
it,
also,
changing
too,
the facts and the whole
also-
9 yards.
Also, too, kids are not being taught properly either. Think about that in that aspect. It's like when I was going through high school, our books were so out of date. I mostly learned most of this shit on the internet. Like, I went and looked up history on the internet, watched videos, taught myself because in
Yeah,
school
grab me
they
some more
weren't
beer,
teaching
beer back.
you. I think it's highly ridiculous as a person that these two new generations that are coming up are just misled, and it's really sad, honestly.
Well, not just misled. It's worse than that because not only are they misled, but they are.
Well, take a look. I'm on my phone. It's the two generations now. I'm always on my phone. I am impervious to everything in the world, and I'm sensitive. That's what it is.
Yeah.
When you go to,
and not just that either, because, like I said, taught isn't really the right word, but in a sense it is. They're being taught, and not by schools or whatever, although sometimes by schools. But
Duddy, I'm gonna back out. Join off of me. Everybody, join off of me because we're
Alright.
having this issue.
through the responses to their actions, they're being taught that it's okay to
I'm reloading now.
gang up and bully either a company or a platform or whatever into
Well, take a look at
adopting
this.
their rules.
Take a look at this. Everybody needs to have a trophy. Think about this in this aspect. Think about it. When I was a kid, there was when you finish last, you finish last. There was no trophy. Now, everybody gets a reward. Everybody gets a golden trophy. And if you don't,
That's if
people
they
are
even keep
rioting.
score.
Right.
Because for plenty of kids sports, they don't even keep score anymore.
What happened to the
I was
party?
we're having that issue again. So, everybody join on me. Just join off of me when I get back in. I'll let you know.
All right.
I just think this world's a little nuts, in my opinion. I just think,
Wait, a little nuts?
Yeah,
A lot of
right.
Is it me? Is it me? Am I crazy?
I'm glad you threw that out there.
Is it me, or am I crazy to think that it feels like to me that these people are trying to play?
You guys can join off of me now.
Are trying to play the gender exclusivity game by saying that nobody's being inclusive to them, so they feel a certain way. And when you try to talk about gender roles or gender in general, they don't take you seriously because you're not said gender or gender role. So it feels like they're trying to change the meaning of inclusive altogether instead of being honest with themselves.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Right.
that's the big thing is they are completely being dishonest about their intentions and their objectives, and that's what gets me. It's like when the groups of these people were demanding that these rules and these systems be implemented in things like Overwatch or Twitch or YouTube or whatever.
Yeah.
That look at the if you look at the consequences of the actions.
Yeah.
If you look at the consequences of their actions, you can usually infer what their true intentions are. And when you look at something like with Overwatch, right, where if you don't like what somebody's saying, you can already mute them or block them or not play with them, or you can play with a group of your friends, or there's all sorts of tools available to you to not see or hear anything you don't want to while you're playing. What would be the only reason why somebody would want the ability to report and get somebody banned for saying something that they don't like? And the only thing I can think of is to bully somebody.
Well, it's becoming in this day and age where people want to be politically correct, and here's the thing: if I can't get my point across, I'm going to get a group of people, and it becomes a mob mentality at that point.
Well, that's the problem right there, is nationalism and grouping up of people is the wrong approach. Like, people are people regardless of where you come from. So all of those arguments are just awkward as fuck to begin with.
You know what's crazy, dude, is I was raised in a pretty ignorant family, right? Like, my mother at one point in her life, even though she experienced it herself, was kind of racist. My father was pretty ignorant to a lot of different things. He wasn't racist per se, but like, he was pretty out there. And I remember this as a kid, right? Even as I got older, she was pretty kind of homophobic in a lot of ways. And I still to this day treat people with respect, and I still to this day treat others the way I want to be treated. And it was something that I've always I never had to be told that. You know, this is something I learned throughout my life. Why can't we just do that?
Well,
there's a wild idea.
Amen, bro. Amen.
Well, I think some of us, to an extent, are prejudiced. You know, people don't want to admit this. I think,
No, everybody's prejudiced, and we are all prejudiced. We are all prejudiced one way or another. I had friends.
You can't go through life without developing. I mean, that's all prejudice is shortcuts, right?
Right.
You meet a whole bunch of people, and you notice that 90% of 90% of guys do X, Y, or Z. And so your brain creates a shortcut in your mind, because you can't go through life treating every single thing as its own individual circumstance.
No.
You don't have the brain power to do that. So you have to create these shortcuts. And yeah, that can be hijacked and, used for nefarious purposes. But it's like to pretend that everybody doesn't do that to a certain extent. It's like, come on, guys. It's like, and the worst part is like, a lot of times, like, there was a Harvard, I can't remember if it was a student or a professor, but it was this black guy, and he did this social experiment where he went around to a bunch of different, like, businesses and stuff like that, and in one instance he was dressed up basically like a thug, and in the other instance he was dressed up all nice in a nice suit and tie and all this other stuff. And lo and behold, as anybody would, like, he thought he was going to prove that he was going to be treated poorly no matter what because he's black and, everybody's just racist.
Right.
Well, turns out that no, when he was dressed up in a suit and tie, everybody treated him politely and nicely, and they were all friendly with him. And when he was dressed up like a thug, he was, people were wary of him. They were eyeballing him. They were like, "Boy, what do you?" It had nothing to do with him being black. It had to do with how he was dressed.
Yeah, the image that he's trying to project onto other people.
Exactly.
That has always been a thing.
Like, you're walking down a dark alley late at night, and you see a group of white guys dressed up like thugs. It's like, you would be wary of them just like if you saw a bunch of black guys dressed up like thugs. It's not that they're white or black, it's how they're dressed. It's the attitude and image and all that they're projecting with their outward appearance, not so much their color of their skin or their gender or whatever it is. And like I said, it's a shortcut. You know, people who dress like thugs, well, usually they're thugs. And it's not good to get mixed up with people like that because thugs don't do the nicest shit.
Right.
What, you know, and, but to bring it back to the original thing, you know, it's like, what really irritates me the most is that these people aren't being honest with their intentions, and they want to pretend like they are holier than thou, and that they are nothing but good, and that, oh, they just want to, you know, they just want to keep toxicity out of our games, and they just want to, you know, or Twitter or YouTube or whatever it is. And it's like, yeah, no, I see right through that shit. Because if I was trying to keep toxicity out of my games, the last thing that I would want people to do is reporting on each other for what they say to each other constantly. Like anybody who's been through first grade knows, the worst thing that a teacher can do is encourage kids tattling on each other.
Take away your recess.
Yeah, right. Besides that, right? The worst thing she could do, besides taking away recess or fun time or whatever it is, or lunchtime, right, or snack time. But the worst thing that they could do is encourage kids to tattle on each other, because then all you're gonna get is a bunch of kids tattling on each other for smaller and smaller things, trying to get each other in trouble for whatever perceived slights or, you know, schoolyard tussles or, you know, whatever, you know, arguments of the week that they're having between each other. And that's exactly what's happening with all these reporting systems. Is we're getting these schoolyard bullies who are using these systems to bully other people with, because that's how they get their jollies.
Well, also too, you have, I'll say this too, you also have, you know, in the schools, you have literally these teachers where this person's getting beat the hell out of by a big dude doing nothing about it, walking past it. Like, for instance, I think I told you, Gangster, about this weeks ago. There was a situation where this kid in school was getting the hell beat out of him, got knocked the hell out, and the teacher literally walked past him, and then dragged him into the office being half out of it. Now he's literally going to be messed up for the rest of his life because they didn't get to him quick enough. And he was a straight A kid, did nothing wrong. You know, you get shit like that, which is really disappointing.
Yeah. And it's disgusting in all its forms, and I can't stand it.
It wasn't like that when we were growing up as kids, man. A lot of us here that are in the show, a lot of us, you know, didn't experience that when we got into fights and whatnot. You know, we had to, you know, go through responsibilities and whatnot.
Well, that's anybody who's dealt with a bully knows the only way you get rid of a bully is by popping him one in the nose.
Right.
That's all you got to do. One time, that's all it takes. As soon as you show the bully that you are not afraid to take it to the next level, that's it. They stop picking on you because they know that you're gonna fight back. And it's the same thing. Like if people really wanted to stop quote unquote bullying in video games or Twitter or whatever,
that'll never happen though.
It's never happen. But on an individual level, like if you want to stop an individual bully from bullying an individual person, all you got to do is get the person being bullied to clap back at him.
Well,
throw a few clever insults their way or something like that.
It's kind of like vaping in a way too. If you really think about it, people are so sensitive over it, but don't know the truth all about it. You know what I mean? They just want to hear word of mouth, and the word of mouth is not telling them right because it's all corrupted to begin with. Same kind of principle for really talking like in that way about kids, you know, being treated wrong and parents getting wrong information and people doing nothing about it. It's kind of like vaping now. It's you know, they want to ban all this shit, but there's not a lot of information out there about it. You know what I mean?
Or not the right information.
Right information. And, you know, we're seeing it. The CDC's backing down. You're seeing how corrupt the government could be. And how people could be, and how people are being corrupted to believe in this crap because you got big mainstream media selling it to them that it's all bad, when it's not the normal vaping that's hurting people, it's the street stuff. And if you prohibition all this shit, right? Just like what we're doing with censoring people on the internet, you're just gonna turn these kids that are, you know, vaping into smokers in general.
Yep.
So in other words, it's going to turn the people that aren't bullies into bullies.
Yeah.
Or give the
Basically.
people who want to bully
More
tacit
ammo.
license to do it. Yeah.
Long
The
story
methods
short,
of
be
doing it.
nice, motherfucker.
Basically.
Yeah. It's and I like I said, I called this shit, and I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna figure out exactly when, because yeah, I knew this was gonna happen, and it's gonna be the. I mean, Overwatch has been slowly dying for a while now, but this shit's gonna be the quick death of Overwatch, real quick.
Well, it's happening in other games too. Not
Yeah.
just
Oh yeah. Oh,
Overwatch.
look what happened to League. I
League
mean, the
is
same
toxic as
exact-
all hell now.
The same exact thing happened to League, and that shit started way before Overwatch. They started implementing all these same rules, and I said the same thing. It's not going to stop anybody. All you're going to do is the worst people in there are going to be abusing these policies and these mechanisms
Right.
to bully all of the normal people off, and then all you're going to be left with is just the most toxic group of people reporting each other for nonsense. And sure as shit, that's what happened. And that's the difference between League and Dota. People are like, what's the difference between League and Dota? It's the community, and it's because Dota did not implement these bullshit rules and League did. That's the only difference between those two games, really.
So here's the thing, though, right? Like with Dota 2, Counter-Strike Go, 1.6 isn't even Source, Unreal Tournament communities to this day, even Quake, all have always had like this group of people that would act as gatekeepers of the community and try to enforce the rules of the company. I don't mind that. That is not something I mind. Like, if you want to police your own community, great. That's an awesome idea. That's how I think every gaming community should be ran. But when you start changing the rules to a point that if you even sneeze wrong, it could be considered offensive to somebody, then you got to ask yourself, are we really doing a justice to those that are being bullied, or are we empowering the bullies?
That's the $1 million question, man.
Because guess what happens when you're a bully, right? You literally come up with ideas to manipulate the system to keep you going. That's what bullies are known for doing. If they said,
well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
They're not playing like. If you get a toxic bully in a game like Overwatch, and these people, they assume that they're playing the game of Overwatch, and if we just create these rules, that'll stop them. And say, guys, you're not even looking at this the right way. They're not playing the game of Overwatch.
They're not looking at the full glass. They're looking at half of the glass.
Yeah, they're playing the game of how can I piss these people off the most.
Right.
right. It's kind of weird
And
to
an
think
easy
about.
way to do that, like in Overwatch, what do? They start spamming voice lines. And so Blizzard has to start banning people for spamming voice lines, or not banning, but you know, suspending or
Censoring.
whatever. Yeah. And or
take them out of the game.
it's even easier than that. Like, what's the quickest way to piss somebody off in a game like Overwatch? Pick a healer and then not heal like certain people.
Well, here's another thing they could do. They could literally block you after sending one voice line. They can literally do like other games do. You're timed out for X amount of minutes. Rocket League does that. A lot of games that I play do that. Like, you're timed out for a good like minute and a half. That will annoy people real quick.
I don't know, dude. I think like, I mean, here's the thing, right? I have always believed that there have been always, like, I think there should have always been some sort of guideline to keep this stupid shit from happening. Like, my entire intention was to keep this shit from happening, not necessarily, like, censor people altogether. Just be like, hey, let's put some basic fucking guidelines there and see if we can enforce it, right?
Right.
But we have gone unchecked for so fucking long in this community, in the online community, that is,
here's the thing, though.
that we don't know how to fix this. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know what we're doing. We don't know how to fix this because all we're doing is shitting on each other right now.
Well, see, but here's the thing, though. It's not human beings censoring the shit. It's an algorithm. A lot of these companies and things have been putting algorithms in place and not wanting to pay real people, human beings, to do what they need to do. Look at Microsoft. Look at all these companies right now, like literally putting algorithms in place that do nothing for the average man or the average woman out there. You know what I mean? So you're just getting banned for getting banned because the algorithm just pops into place and takes over.
But here's the thing,
which is ridiculous.
But here's the thing, though. The censorship didn't start until big money got involved.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if they were gonna start censoring people, they should have did that shit long before fucking stupid fucking companies like Fox or CNN decided to step their fucking cocks into the arena. Like, they should have been fucking censoring people forever ago. Like, they should have never allowed the fucking Middle Eastern beheading videos allowed on YouTube. They should have never allowed that.
Right.
But because the internet being the fucking internet, the natural course of the beast was, let's see if I could top that video.
Right.
What else can I fucking upload that like offends and is disgusting and is abhorrent to that video that we just seen? Like, that is the mentality of YouTubers nowadays. Like, who can one up them one other to get the most views? And it's not their fault. That's just the nature of YouTube. That's how the algorithm works.
Well, there's always going to be a certain number of people who it's like the kids who upload, you know,
guys,
I think
I think we focused more on the game, not getting objectives. I think we cared about the kills. Let's put it that way.
You know, there's always going to be a group of people that they want the attention, they want to go viral, or the, you know, whatever it is, and so they're just going to keep finding the most extreme, disgusting, you know, whatever they can find, and shit like that.
Yeah.
But it's even worse for games like YouTube. That's one thing. Like, obviously there's, you know, like beheading videos or whatever. There's real reasons to not allow that kind of stuff, or at the very least restrict it, you know.
Dude, there was ISIS recruiting videos that were playing Walmart and Target ads in front of it. Like, these are the things I'm talking about. Like, when
do we draw the line on shit?
No, I'm using the word wrong.
All right, I'm backing out again because we're having that thing again. So
we decided to allow a company like ABC to take over a platform and not regulate it. And that's why we are where we are at today, because everybody knows ABC, or aka Google, is a trendsetter, and whatever they do, a lot of the industry follows.
Right.
And you see what's going on nowadays. Overwatch is one of them. God knows how many other games are going to be affected like this, like Dota 2 or like League of Legends. We could easily say it was their fault to begin with because of the lack of regulations that they had. But then again, we could also lay blame to the companies buying into the ad spaces of YouTube, making YouTube the size it is today. I mean, a lot of these regulations are more to do with Walmart, Target, Sears, fucking Kmart before it became bankrupt. Companies like Dr. Squatch's soaps and, you know, Raid, the mobile game that sells, you know, 1.5 million a year. Like, I mean, people putting money into this platform and it going unregulated by its host is why we are where we're at in all of our communities, because we do not have the mental capacity of taking responsibility for our own actions. And I mean that through everybody. We don't. At a certain capacity, we don't. We're fucking infants at certain stages of life, and unfortunately, some of us just never outgrow that. And that's where you see this SJW crowd from. Like, they're just a bunch of infants. They don't know what the fuck they're doing in this world. There's not really a place for them because everybody's practically against them. And that's kind of where the forming of these situations have taken place when it comes to YouTube. It's, just a bunch of people being stupid on the internet, not controlling themselves. And as unfortunately the outcome of what we're seeing now is a bunch of sensitive shit or censoring shit throughout the entire industry. And that's fucking terrible.
Yeah. I don't know.
Can I talk? So Borderlands, man, I want to talk about that.
That sounds like it's way more uplifting. So yes, of course.
Thank you, DX, for that follow, bro. I appreciate it, dude. Thank you for that. Yeah, I've been playing a shit ton of Borderlands 3. I played with Lone until our family share got destroyed. But, it'll get fixed here soon.
Yep.
But Borderlands is fun. I've enjoyed it, minus some of the quirkiness in the story. I've been told by people once I finish the game, that I've been told the story's been it's been meh for the most part. Thanks, Billy, dude. I appreciate it, dude. I think Borderlands is a great game. It's just that you could tell that the story is just literally all right. Is it worth the $60 right now that they're asking for it? No. I think $30. I'm gonna go there. Like $30 is about right. I think if you're family sharing with somebody, it's definitely a playthrough. Thank you, Billy, for the host, dude. I appreciate it, dude. And that's gonna be loud, so let me mute that. Appreciate it, dude. I'm gonna mute that real quick. But I honestly think Borderlands is worth the wait for. If you're waiting on Steam right now, it's worth the wait. I think if you're getting it on Xbox or PS4 or whatever they decide to Stadia or whatever, I think it's worth the $30. It's not worth $60. In the current state it is, it's got performance problems on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. When you put it on performance mode, it's supposed to be locked at 60, 1080p. It does not run at 1080p 60. It runs more like 1080p 45. And then if you switch it to resolution mode, it stays at 30, little dips here and there, but it runs like ass in those aspects. I think, honestly, if you're on the fence line right now and you're going to wait for it to hit Steam, then you're better off just waiting. But you're missing out on a lot of shit as far as keys, as far as, things like that. I think the game's a little rushed. I think they should have delayed the game to fix all the problems. There is issues on the Xbox One X I've experienced. Like, for instance, when you're running into, like, places where it's got the sun shining on it. The sheen and the shine that it's supposed to, like, show off stuff, it doesn't look really good. And whatever they're doing with the Unreal 4 with this game, it's as far as Borderlands 1 and 2 goes, it is a step ahead, but it digresses in a lot of things. Like, if you like Borderlands 2 and 1 and you like the comedy aspect of it, then Borderlands 3 is kind of, I would say, a notch down from that. I would say Borderlands 3 is a great game if you're going into it not getting your hopes up and hype. But if you're going in expecting it's going to be the gold standard like Borderlands 2 was, then I'm going to say Borderlands 3 is not your game. And I'm not going to give it a score until they fix. I'm not going to say, it's a bad game because it's plagued with problems. but they should have aired that out before the game came out. And that's not even including Epic Games in itself, right? Having to rely on Gearbox to come in and fix their shit. That to day one, that should never had to been an issue. And I didn't like the fact that certain people that pre-ordered the game got it early over people that just went out and picked it up. I felt like some of the things, I felt like Take-Two and Gearbox weren't transparent with everybody. So that kind of like irked me a little bit. But the game is fun. Don't get me wrong, fun. But I wouldn't pick it up right now in the current state it's in. I'm saying that now. I've been playing it. I played enough of it. I got a character that's like 14.
But Rev, over 1 million people have masturbated to Borderlands 3 content.
Yeah, well.
On Pornhub.
On Pornhub, baby. Oh yeah.
Well, I was trying to make it out to be if the game, if it's worth buying it or not right now in the current state it's at, and I'm honestly saying no.
If you could spank it, you should buy it.
Oh Lord.
Apparently they just had their first big patch and there were no performance fixes or anything like that. Instead, they dropped a bunch of
Still here, Daddy? I don't know if he left or not because his stream went offline.
he's still in the
chat.
still in the Discord.
but
They
I'm
dropped
dropping
a bunch
frames.
of what was it? Drop rates. Yeah, they nerfed legendary drop rates and a bunch of farming spots, and didn't fix any of the bugs or performance issues.
Well, here, Digital Foundry did a video, and they basically stated that if you're running it in performance mode, it on the Xbox One, this is not including the Xbox, OG or the S. The OG and the S are basically running it on dynamic resolutions. So you may be playing it at like 900p, and then certain places on the fly, it may put it at 1080p. They're doing the same thing Gears of War is doing as far as on the console side. They're doing the same thing on the PlayStation with this dynamic resolution, but it falls flat because the dips are unbelievable. And on PC side, it's unacceptable to me when you're promoting all this AMD stuff, and when you get into certain points in the game, it goes down to 10 frames a second. And that's just, to me, at day one, that shouldn't be. To me, if you're releasing a game at $60 and then expecting people after all the plaguing problems, there need to be a lot of ass kissing by the community itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just unacceptable to me. You can't screw with the community, the people that really love this game. You need to go above and beyond what you're doing to make it up to the community. And Randy Pitchford has come out, okay? And he came out on Twitter the day launch. If you guys don't like what's happening, I'm going to take away things from you. Really? You're expecting people to buy your game, and you're telling the dedicated people that have bought your game, like myself and others, that, okay, so because you're the guy that made this game, you can dictate everything. You can tell people, oh, hey, I'm going to take out the golden guns in the game. Well, fuck, any legendaries. I'm going to take it away from you. That's bad business. And that makes a lot of people go away from your game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It really does. It turns people off from their game. Literally. And that's the disappointment part. And
Not wrong.
And that's the thing I have against Borderlands 3 at this moment, that Randy Pitchford is literally playing Russian roulette with the fans, and it's going to turn a lot of people off. But if you're going into it not looking at all the controversy, not looking at what's happening with Epic Games, not looking at what's going on, it's a fun game, but it's riddled with problems. And I'm telling people, just wait for a sell. Just wait for a sell right now. Wait until like the third or fourth patch comes out and play it then. It is not worth $60 right now. And I don't understand why people are saying, oh, it's the greatest game ever. It's like, no. At launch, it was riddled just like Gears 5 was riddled with issues. A lot of these game and I'm hoping this doesn't happen with the COD the new COD that comes out, I'm crossing my fingers. I'm hoping it's a smooth launch and we do not have riddled issues, because the last last 4 games I bought services for have just been a disaster. And it really bothers me when you spend so much money on these games to not play them. You're spending $60 to not play. And I don't, you know, and another thing is, you know, in Call of Duty, we've been talking about this all day, you know, the mouse and keyboard versus controller, or Xbox versus PC. In my honest opinion on that, really, oh, you left the game, Brimstone?
No, you weren't launching it, so I was just gonna go into it and launch it while you were talking.
Oh, sorry. Here, okay, got you.
You're all good.
My bad. But yeah, it's just my personal opinion. I just think people, I think, you know, people need to take a step back and realize: do we buy games that day 1 launches or not? And this whole argument, you know, should be out there. And I think Borderlands, you know, with the problems, and what's going on with Epic Games, it's just a disaster, and I wouldn't recommend picking it up right now. I am kind of with everybody on that board, and my opinion's kind of changed. I had Bing Rewards, so I got pretty much Borderlands as free as possible. Like, literally, with, you know, if you're on Xbox right now. So Bing Rewards, guys, try it out. It's great. If you have Ultimate Pass or Game Pass and you have Bing Rewards connected and you beat Gears, you get like 2,000 points. So reward points, and you can turn that into Amazon gift cards, Xbox Live cards. Pretty worth the just, you know, pretty worth it. But Borderlands 3, wait on it, guys. I know I'm tearing it to pieces down. The comedy is okay at points, but it's I haven't completed it, so I can't really definitively tell you. You know, I haven't completed it, but I've heard from friends that have completed it that it's just all right. It's gonna top Borderlands 2 or, you know, a pre-sequel or anything like that. It's just okay in the series. So that's Borderlands for you. I would say wait until it's like $30 when it's on sale. That's when I would buy it. That's when I would, you know, like, go into it and have fun and be hyped. And they're having problems with DRM issues and all this shit going on alongside of it. And it's not been a smooth selling experience on Xbox, by the way. Yeah, I've had a couple crashes. I've had some freezing issues with the game, unfortunately. But if you don't mind all the issues and all the problems, then it's a good game. I'm not gonna say it's the be-all end-all game of all time or anything like that. And I'm not going to turn around and say Gears 5, you know, another game that I've beaten. I'm not going to tell you Gears 5 is game of the century.
I will.
It's a great... You will?
Yeah, why not? Absolutely. I'll be more than happy.
I will go with you on that, because I'll feed you into that a little bit, because what they are doing with the Unreal 4 engine is unbelievable.
I would say it's better than Last of Us.
Wow, you're really going there. Holy shit. Holy shit.
Before anybody says they're bullshit in the comments, yes, I have Last of Us. Yes, I beat the fucking game. I don't want to hear it. Yes, it's a beautiful game. I'm not dissing on it. It's a great game. But the way people are overhyping Last of Us is the same as, like, what they did with Final Fantasy VII and any other great game that they've overhyped. You get to playing it, and it's not as good as what you thought it would be because your friends overhyped it to you. So, I might as well overhype a game to strangers that I think deserves the hype that hasn't gotten anything yet other than its reviews. Everybody's like, yeah, it's got great reviews. It's doing great. Did you play the game? No. Okay.
I will say this, too. Okay, so I will say this to you guys here. Whatever Gears of War is doing, Gears 5, right? Whatever they're doing with the Unreal 4, all these other companies need to take notes, because the game runs on Unreal 4 and it runs perfect.
Chris? Anyways, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
It runs really, really good.
They have two. Retake those objectives.
Last of Us is damn near perfect. I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't go that far. There's other games that I think is better than Last of Us personally. And I know, pitchfork and knives. I know I'm gonna be condemned, but I'm gonna say this. The reason I don't have a PS4 anymore, and the reason why I'm not buying the next PlayStation is because, yeah, Sony doesn't know how to do software. Overall, they don't know how to do software, period. If I have to wait in a queue for literally an hour, and Brimstone's witness to this, you just lost me as a consumer.
Enemy personal radar overhead.
Just saying.
Yeah. Plus, they're censoring shit.
Yeah, too.
You know, the censor. Okay, here's the thing. The censoring doesn't bother me. I kind of see where they're going with it, so it doesn't bother me. What I don't like is me going into a Call of Duty match and it lagging so fucking horrendously bad that when I shoot somebody, they lag out of my shots like I never took any health off of them, even though on my screen, the reticles have gotten like that to where they were red, right? So I'm like, okay,
Right.
cool, they're dead, if not, you know, almost dead. Bro, I played Overwatch with you on PlayStation 4.
They still got those same.
It was
they've already
fucking
patched.
terrible, bro.
It's better resolution than the Xbox, but it's whatever they're doing to get there is freaking horrible.
Yeah, what good's your resolution if you're networking with the people you're playing with is terrible.
Let's put it this way. I know I'm gonna get hate for this. When you put an SSD in the PlayStation 4, any of them, why does it feel like when you put an SSD into any of these things, right? Why does it feel like you're still running a hard drive?
Because the software isn't optimized for SSDs. They
It-
said that at the beginning of the generation.
And they're running on Linux, for crying out loud. Linux UI, come on. A Unix Linux base, come on.
I know. Like, how the fuck are you gonna run on Linux and not be optimized for SSDs? That doesn't make any fucking sense.
I mean, I don't understand the logic there.
Like, I have an old HyperX SSD that fucking, like, it's like brand new when I run it on Linux. So go figure.
Well, it boggles my mind, it boggles my mind with PS4. It's like they know all these problems, and it's far-fetched what they're saying about the whole. Yeah, they're gonna have a faster SSD, 10 times the speed of a normal SSD. What do we know about Sony? They're gonna throw whatever cheap they get off the fucking shelves, okay? And they're just gonna rebrand it and claim it's faster than anything we've ever seen, okay? And Microsoft's gonna probably do the same thing. I don't think we're gonna see 10 times faster SSDs on a PlayStation. We may see 1 terabyte SSDs in these things, maybe.
But they're not gonna be
maybe
special sauce SSDs that they claim.
right.
Which I think is funny. Like they're like making these huge fucking claims that it's gonna be faster than any SSD on the market, and people are saying 10 times. I'm like, I'm sorry, I just don't see it. Like this kind of technology doesn't just hide somewhere on the internet in a corner somewhere where none of us are gonna ever find it.
Dude,
like,
we're
if
getting
we-
that-
This technology exists, then why isn't it on PC?
Okay,
exactly.
So here's the thing. We're getting cab files, okay? We're getting cab files. Anytime you see cab files on the internet with these leaks that are happening, they're real. Okay? Like when the iPhone gets leaked on the internet like months before, it's usually
You mean the leaks of these companies are real? Just so that
They're
we don't have
real.
these smartasses trying to send you CAD files.
So for instance, the Pixel, okay, so me and you were both saying this months ago, the Pixel 4, right? Remember when we saw all the leaks for that?
Yeah.
The Pixel 4 is a real thing. That whole look, that cap file that we got with the chin and the other chin, it's actually the real phone.
It looks like shit.
It's because they're doing AI and you can wave your hands on this. You can wave your hands, do all this stuff, and they're doing Face
Hey,
ID. Like
that
Apple.
sounds almost like the HTC Squeeze fucking feature that they had on their phone. Just squeeze your phone to let it open up your maps. Like nobody cared about that, and they went belly up.
And you know it's funny. Sony's getting all these cab files leaked out with schematics and everything about their dev kits, and their main console, what it's gonna look like, and all the prototypes and everything. You know, it's funny, Microsoft, we haven't seen anything from them. They've been very quiet.
Enemy incoming. Weapons ready.
I don't know. Makes me kind of question. It makes me kind of question Sony at this point. Are they doing this on purpose like Google was doing just to get hype around it? Or are we going to get this console and from all the leaks and everything, and we're just going to be, oh, wow, okay. Great. Disappointment. Because the last time Sony did this kind of stuff was during the PS3. And what did we learn about the PS3? That it was priced so high and nobody bought in until the very end. And I'm not trying to be a PlayStation hater at all. I'm just being realistic because Sony keeps selling everything like it's the new generation, the SSD. Like, unless they're running PCI 4.0 on the PlayStation, I highly doubt that SSD is gonna be the be all end all 10 times faster.
Well, even with that, you need a PCI 4 M.2 drive, and those fucking things are ludicrously expensive. There's no way they're I think those drives are something in the range of like $400, $500, $600.
Now, I may bite my words here. I think they're gonna go M.2, but I think it's gonna be soldered onto the board itself.
Sure, and or even if it's socketed, it's just gonna be the regular PCI 3 NVMe drives that go 600 to 800 is it Mbps?
Yeah, and here's what I'm gonna say. I'm happy consoles are finally coming to current gen shit.
Right.
I'm happy they're coming back to current gen shit.
And it's a hell of an increase, but it's not, oh my god, this will be the fastest thing you've ever, the fastest thing you've ever seen on a console, maybe.
Or maybe they do this. I've been throwing this out here. Maybe they give us a small NVMe for like system stuff and stuff, and maybe they give us a hard drive on the side for caching. You never know.
Or a SATA SSD, a large SATA SSD for the actual games. Yeah, why not?
Why not? They may give us two things on the console. Why is the PlayStation cab files? Why does the PlayStation look like a beefy console then? They gotta be throwing in an NVMe for like kind of what Intel's doing with Optane and AMD's doing with Censoring. I'm assuming they're kind of gonna do the same thing where they have a caching drive of some sort, like a high-powered SSD for like system and maybe for games, and then they have like a big drive over here for installing games and whatnot, like SSHD or something.
But that's the thing. You know what's funny is so the SSHDs had a bigger impact in the beginning of the PS4's life cycle than any of the SSDs did. So the SSHDs were actually selling good because people were buying the base model PS4 to install those on. So why don't we just do SSHDs? It seems like whatever that OS is operating on, it benefits greatly from it. So we just
It would be redundant. It would be redundant because you basically can have an NVMe for you can have maybe a 120 NVMe drive or an M.2, and you can offset all the stuff to it and have a big meat drive inside of it, like a customized 4 terabyte drive or something.
Well, let's be honest. I think we're being redundant regardless of what we do if we're going from mechanical to SSD. In general, I mean, what are you gonna do with an SSD? What, run a fucking game that much faster? Whoopie fucking do. You're gonna have a few more seconds to your fucking your load times. Oh darn, you know what I mean? If we're gonna be honest, I mean, SSDs is kind of a waste of money when it comes to consoles, unless we're dealing with 4K 60 constant.
I did a test. So I recently put a Western Digital SSD in my A1X, or not in my A1X, it's an external drive, right? It was faster, but you're not gonna notice the difference. It still loads kind of exactly the same like it does an external hard drive. You're not gonna really notice the speed, so I'm assuming we're not really gonna tell the speed. Where we're gonna see it is probably in RAM. I think you're gonna have a beefier RAM on these consoles. I think they're gonna go up to about. I personally think we're gonna see 14 gigs of DDR6. Personally, because Sony likes to use the RAM for their offset for their software, and they use that. I think Microsoft will use it for more what we typically see with graphics memory.
Or how about this?
I mean,
Or how about this? Let's design a console that doesn't require a reconstitution of a generation. That would be good.
Or wouldn't it be something, since HBM2E has been talked about all over the place now? Wouldn't it be something if Microsoft decides, oh, since it's cheaper, it's more affordable, how do we put that in our console? Wouldn't it be something? Because everything is subject to change. The Scarlet is not set in stone right now. Microsoft even said that it's subject to change anytime, anywhere. Phil Spencer even came out. I like the fact Phil Spencer's being real with people and allowing literally mouse and keyboard on his platform, where Sony's still on the fence going, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
We don't want people with mouse and keyboard to have an advantage. I'm playing Call of Duty and crossplay, right? And I agree with Gangster on...
I don't really think there is an advantage, really.
I agree with Gangster on the fact that the esports side of things, yeah, okay, I agree there where, yeah, crossplay shouldn't exist. I agree to that extent. But normal quick play and arcade modes on Call of Duty, I don't mind crossplay in that aspect. But competitive modes, I agree with Gangster. That, yeah, okay. Maybe we shouldn't have that. Or maybe we should evaluate it to some extent and see where the numbers lie, you know, overall when stats come out and we see what's going on, you know. But I agree with Gangster earlier today with your comment that you said about esports and how the crossplay stuff is going to work. I did agree with you earlier in the day when we were talking about it.
Honestly, I believe that it's going to open up a lot more avenues for console players.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree with you there. I'm with you. I'm down with that.
Because, like, I'm looking at it this way. Like, this could open up a whole different, like, tactical...
Look at sports games.
Situation, you know what I mean? Like, console gamers could be focusing on sniping while, like, PC gamers are infantry. Or shit like that. Like, there could be some really big teams made because of cross-platform play. Jesus Christ, I can't even talk right.
Well, take a look at the sports games, man. Me and you've been talking about this for a while. Wouldn't it be nice if Madden had cross-platform play? Or FIBA, like we could play against our PC brethren and not have, like, an advantage at all?
Actually, it's funny you should say that. I was talking about this with my boss today because he was thinking about that shit too. So I was telling him about the Xbox One X and like how good it is and how much fun I'm having with it. And he was like, "Yo, like, wouldn't it be good if we had like a oh god, I can't believe I did that. Wouldn't it be good to have Madden games be like that?" I'm like, yeah, actually, that's a good idea. Like, I think that would be great. I think this should be the generation, or what is this? What numerical value is this generation? 8, 9,
8.
So technically 8.5, right? Because you know.
Well, they're not considering this the 8.5. They're considering this like an S model. It's not really.
But like the S model would be an 8.5 technically, you know. I mean,
well,
slightly better.
The way Sony and Microsoft are saying, it's not considered a generation leap. It's a micro advancement. They're not really calling it a generation leap like an 8.5 and a half. It's not like
the One X is definitely just saying.
Well, they're calling it like Apple. So Apple does a micro upgrade to their phone, right? One year, and then they have the big leap where they release a phone. It's like Android too, so like Samsung or Motorola, and they release like the next best thing, you know, with the better screen and more RAM, more processor. Like, you know, I never thought in my life, I never thought in the next like 5 years we're getting past the close enough to look at cooling phones. I never thought we'd get that far in advancements, but we are. We're getting to 144 hertz panels on a freaking phone. And, you know, 1440.
That's just nuts.
It's crazy. I never thought, you know, in 5 years, you know, 5 years from now, we may be at 360 hertz monitors. It's kind of crazy how, like, literally technology is advancing so quickly, faster and faster and faster. Like, 8K is becoming a thing, and it's like, I'm not even ready for 4K yet.
Well, dude, 1080p 60 just became a thing like this generation.
Right.
I mean, these guys, I don't know.
What's the next topic, gangster, that you have?
Well, the UN is back at it again. So if anybody remembers, the UN proposed a ban on anime with underage sexualization of underage characters. And they don't just mean like the super young, like ones that look like actual kids. They mean anything like high school or you know, shit like that.
But like, I've heard this argument before though, like, how are we gonna, so like, this is something like, so I like, a lot of people know that I'm against a lot of lolly stuff, right? Like, a lot of people know I'm against it, so I'm just gonna,
You've gone hardcore on Twitter.
I'm gonna lay that out there. I'm against lollies, right? I'm against lolly fans. I think there's something seriously wrong with their heads, okay? But this, from what I have understood, I think that there is no denying that there is some fucked up shit going on in the anime industry, but this isn't going to help it, because
no.
How many anime women or girls look like they're in their 30s?
Well, that's the thing, right? For one, because God, there's so many things about this. For one thing, right? Any of the animes that are based in high school, those you could easily say that they're college age, and they wouldn't be drawn any differently. I mean, people bitch all the time about the unrealistic huge boobs of anime characters. It's like, okay, well, high school girls don't have boobs like that.
Right.
Women have boobs like that.
Absolutely.
And we're talking about drawings. Like, there's really no difference between a drawing of an 18-year-old girl or a 30-year-old girl, right? It's like, this isn't a photo. This isn't, you know, this is like, there's no wrinkles on their faces. But beyond that, right? The thing that irritates me the most, well, one of the things that irritates me the most about this is there's actual problems in the world. Like, the panel that sits on the Human Rights Council for the UN, one of the countries that sits on that panel is Saudi Arabia, that fully endorses child brides.
Yeah.
And so UN, you're gonna go after fictional characters when you have countries a part of your organization that have actual girls young as 12 and 13 being married off to 30, 40, 70-year-olds. And you're choosing to go after fictional characters. Like, how does that make any sense whatsoever?
Well, it's characters that are fantasy-like. So, I mean, I don't get the UN. I'm sorry, I'm a little ignorant. So, to the Game Talk stream and everybody here, I'm a little ignorant. I've not followed animated in a long time, and I think, you know, I think it's a little. I don't think this is gonna help, but I think there is some weird shit going on. This is not going to help the situation. And all these other countries, you're allowing a lot of really graunchy shit. And I think some fantasy, big boob, anime chicks, right? That teenager, maybe 20-year-old shit. I think it's a little bit whacked out government-wise what's going on. You know, and I think, you know, to start demonizing this shit, I think, you know, a lot more crazy shit's gonna happen.
Well,
what do we know? What do we know about history when it comes to this? When we demonize shit, it just becomes bigger and bigger and bigger.
And even beyond that, like, regardless of whether you like or don't like lolly, think it's disgusting, don't think it's disgusting, whatever, like, regardless of your opinion,
well, each to their
I
own
would,
when it comes to
if
that
somebody
shit, you know?
is a pedophile, I'd much rather they be jacking off to a cartoon 12-year-old than to an actual 12-year-old.
That is the point my buddy made to me, and I kind of backed off because of it, because he had a good point.
Because that's the thing,
You know what I mean?
no 12-year-old is harmed in the creation of a lolly drawing. But an actual 12-year-old is harmed with the creation of child porn.
But the thing, but my problem with it right, is like it creates a demand, and that's what.
No. See, that's I don't buy that argument.
You don't think it does?
Oh, no way. Like, just like the creation of guns doesn't create a demand for violence, or you know, the demand is already there. Like, it's been there since the beginning of time. You know, people have been killing each other or raping each other, or what, you know, whatever the evil is. People have been doing that since the beginning of time. And yeah, the easy proof to this is just look at Japan. Japan is the place that allows all of this willy-nilly. You can draw whatever you want in Japan, any of that, and they have the lowest sexual assault, rape, child porn, or pedophilia, like all of those crimes. They have the lowest rates of any Western country.
Well, gangster, if you really think about it, in Japan, it's really open season in Japan, literally. If you really want to go there, you can actually go to these sex places and have a girlfriend. You can have a robot made into that chick, and you can wine and dine with that chick. So, I mean, really, if you think about it, Japan is really pretty much, you know, they have things.
I mean, they're obviously doing something right.
Right. There's a lot of kinky shit in Japan. If you know,
I mean, you can buy panties, used panties from a vending machine in Japan, and I think that's weird as shit. But they've got way lower rape rates than we do, and way lower pedophilia rates, and way lower sexual assault rates.
Well, gangster, I can tell you why that is. If you can go to a shop, right, for instance, and date a chick that's younger than you, right, that looks, you know, like that, and you can have a robot, you know, or like a, we're getting into this, but robot chick, you know, made into that chick that you're trying to date. You know, it's very weird how Japan works, but, you know, you could totally tell why there's none of that shit in Japan, you know, because they have everything, you know, for your needs.
But what gets me the biggest about this, and like I said, like lolly, don't like lolly, hate it, think it's disgusting, whatever your opinion is of it, right?
Right.
What gets me the most is I don't see any difference between the, you know, sexualized drawing of a 13-year-old anime girl and Arya's sex scene in Game of Thrones.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
You don't see any difference in that?
Nope. Arya is
wait, Arya, wait.
I'll let you two talk this out.
No, Pete's right. No, Pete's right. No, Pete's right. Because Arya, I was thinking, for some reason, I was thinking of another character. My bad. No, Arya, no, absolutely.
She's the youngest. There are plenty of underage girls.
I know, I agree. I'm agreeing with you.
But she's the youngest, and she's supposed to be, I believe, 13, right?
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, I felt fucking strange as fuck when that scene came up, and I was like,
And that's the thing.
Even my girl was
13.
Both me and my girl were uneasy about that shit. So yeah, no, I agree.
Not only is she supposed to be, you know, 13, 14, but her actress looks pretty fucking close to 13, 14. I mean, the way they do her makeup and all that.
Well, actually, she looks that way normally too, without makeup. She actually looks a lot younger than she really is.
But not quite that young. I mean, if you see photos of her in real life, she doesn't look quite that young. I mean, she could maybe pull like 15, 16. But with the way they put her makeup on and all that, she looks pretty fucking close to 13.
Yeah.
And so I don't see any difference between those two. And that's forgetting all the rest of the underage stuff and all that. So if you can accept that in Game of Thrones, then I don't see any difference.
No, that's the thing. Like, we really actually felt uncomfortable watching it. Because, like, even knowing her age in real life, like, I was like, okay, this is weird. Like, this is so fucking strange.
And that's the thing. This is what gets me not... There is a line, right? For me, there's a line. And it's not... like I said, I don't really care about any of it because it's all fiction and there's no real people involved. But if you were to ask me where I would personally draw the line for what makes me feel uneasy or not, I draw the line at where the girls look, or the anime girls look about younger than 12 or so, or 13. Because 14, 15, just like the Arya girl, there are women in real life that look like that. Like Arya, the girl that plays Arya, I don't know her real name, but whoever plays her, she is a real girl. She is over 18, I believe, right? Yeah, no, yeah, she drinks and smokes and everything.
Yeah,
So
she
yeah,
is.
she's over 18, and she could easily pull off 14 or 15 in
Oh
real
yeah,
life.
definitely, yeah.
And it's like, what, is nobody ever supposed to find her attractive? See, that's what gets me about the whole, the reason I never had a problem with Lolly is because as soon as I heard the arguments against it, my first thought was, well, but wait a minute, I know women. Like my mom has a friend. This woman is 40. Well, when I knew her, well, excuse me, when I would see her more regularly, I was like 8 or 10 or maybe 12, and she was like 40 something, same age as my mom. And this woman was 5'2", and if she put makeup on, she would look no older than 16. And it's like, I hung out with this woman, and I would hang out with her kids, obviously.
That's
But,
like
you
you
know,
walking. Sorry.
I would
bad.
see this woman constantly, and it's like, well, you know, what is her husband a pedophile because she looks that young and she's that small, and she's got the whole Lolly physique. She's super skinny, she has no boobs, you know, the whole thing. It's like, is nobody ever supposed to find her attractive because she's, you know, too close to a child's physique? Like that just never processed in my head as being something that would be, you know, people would say, oh no, that's ridiculous. Of course somebody could find her attractive. It's like, well, okay, if somebody could find her attractive, then why can't somebody find a you know, young-ish or whatever? And that's what I tweeted at you, Brimstone, the other day. I really think that's what it is. I bet if you could read the minds of most of the guys that are into Lolly, I'll bet you it has nothing to do with age or anything like that. I bet you they're just guys that really like slim, small girls. Right? Some guys like Amazon chicks, some guys like chicks with big boobs, and some guys like small, athletic chicks with A cups.
Have you ever thought about this? It's probably the art form.
Oh, that too. I'm sure some of it is that too.
And
but I mean, you know,
the
actual attraction to that physique. I bet you that's what it is.
Maybe to some men, you know, out there, and some ladies out there, I guess. But it's in the eye of the beholder, you know what I mean? How we see it with our own two eyes, you know what I mean? I can't really speak on the topic because, you know, I don't go searching for that kind of stuff on the internet, you know? So I'm kind of just maybe a little ignorant.
Don't search for it all you want. You'll find it regardless.
Well, you know, you can look on Twitter and you'll find so much
I was just saying, just spend 5 minutes on Twitter. You'll find all sorts of shit you weren't looking for.
5 minutes on Twitter, you could be liking up something. I told Brimstone this. You could be liking something up on Twitter and have somebody tell you, not single you out, but tell you, oh my God, if you're gonna watch porn and shit, you know, I don't need to see it on my feed. But oh, by the way, you can't take the fucking steps to mute post that I'm liking, or, oh, hey, here's an idea, unfollow me. Or better yet, do what most people are doing in this day and age. Username, block.
But yeah, but to get back to the original, because like I said, there's a whole bunch of shit that goes into this. But to get back to the original thing,
right?
Like, it's unbelievable to me that an organization like the UN would waste their time on something like drawings when there are and even worse than that, I'm reading about a bunch of this, you know, I read through the comments and stuff, and apparently the UN has a big problem with the peacekeepers that they send into like war-torn countries, raping the women there.
That's been going on since, what was it,
since forever.
Yeah, like the peacekeepers should be investigated a lot more before they even be, you know, brought into that kind of thing. But yeah, that's been happening for a long time. Not saying it's a good thing, not saying I'm for it, not saying it should be okay because it's been happening for a long time. I'm just literally saying that's some fucked up shit, and they should have learned from this already and done something about it.
it's like, you know, guys, you've got some serious problems, not only in the world, but in your own damn house that need taken care of. And you're wasting your time on this bullshit. It's just like the U.S. going after violent video games or vaping or whatever. You know, it's like you got serious problems in this country, and
Well,
you guys are talking about violent video games.
Can I
Shit like
can I say this, gangster?
Go for it.
We should be focusing on our financial issues in our country, in a lot of countries, because we're one step away from a recession, and a lot of us are one step away from homelessness. And honestly, you know, I don't understand big government officials want to focus on small net picking things instead of worrying about, oh my God, we're getting real close to going all out war between each other.
Or how about California just by itself? California is what, several $1 billion in debt?
Yeah, and you know what we just did?
People are shitting on the streets of San Francisco and LA, and LA has a huge homeless problem.
Dude, I'll be real with you guys in the stream and game talks. When I go down the street from my house, right? Okay, so where the Grim knows this because he used to live where I used to live. And down the bike path area, right, where Angel Stadium is, no joke, 2 miles, 4 miles, is, I'm now starting to call it homeless row, because you see tents being made, and they're being treated like animals. Like, every day, cops are going over there and literally forcing these people out. They have nowhere to go.
You know,
Government.
You know why that is, right? Because a Democrat in California deemed it illegal to put small houses to provide people with housing in California.
I was waiting for that. Thank you
fucking
for filling the
pricks.
Blanks.
Dude, like,
Blame
sorry.
Galvin Newsom for that. Blame Galvin Newsom for that, because that's what he's been doing. He's an idiot. He's the same dude that thought it was a good idea. Get this, same idea to charge gas tax on everybody, and thought that was a good idea. Oh, and he's talking about now vaping and cigarettes, adding more tax to it because of what's going on. Ideas, concepts. Just get this straight. So it's bad enough cigarettes are becoming like $11 a pack. Now you're gonna add more tax to it to make it $12, $30. Who could afford it at that point? Vaping too. They're talking about taking vapes and going from. He's saying we're not gonna ban this shit. We're just gonna make it impossible for you to buy, because it's gonna be so expensive after I.
Yeah, because that'll stop people.
That'll stop people because, you know, just like what they did in New York with sodas and all this shit. How'd that work out for them? It didn't work out.
Yeah, it won't just be a bunch of poor people spending even more money that they don't have.
Right. Right. And that's what's going on in California. The homeless problem, I see it every day. Go down the streets by the apartments by my house. It's literally really bad. And nobody's doing anything about it. And the government's doing so many backwards things to make more homeless people.
Well, hey man, we need our Moonbeam. What the fuck is his name? Jerry Brown. We need our Jerry Brown train going from San Francisco to LA that nobody's gonna use.
I said this 2 years ago. This is the most stupidest shit. Why are we spending over $2 billion on something that we didn't need? We have roads and stuff that are breaking apart, and a homeless problem in California and New York. Nobody wants to talk about it. So it's gonna be an eyesore for the next couple of years until somebody does something.
You know what I think they should do? Honestly, they should legalize underground cities. I'm dead serious. No, I'm dead serious, dude. I want to see a time cop-like future where fucking Sylvester Stallone could go down below and get a fucking rat burger and have it taste amazing, okay?
Wait,
that shit needs to happen.
Not Time Cop, that's oh shit.
Is that Judge Dredd?
No.
It's the
I said it wrong. I know. Yeah, it's not Time Cop. It's fucking Demolition Man.
Demolition Man.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's like, what? Yep. I don't get this 2 seashells.
So guys, tech deal of the week. If you're in the chat, tech deal of the week is going to go to the Sapphire Radeon Pulse RX 5700, coming in at 360 on Amazon and Newegg. Today, they're showing. Well, actually, I take that back. I'm blind. It's 369, still a great deal. And the RX 5700 will actually. It's in between it's in between a 2070 and a 2060. I'm not gonna say super. I'm gonna say the non-super card. It's in between both of those. It actually battles between. So if you're looking for a really nice card, I would recommend this card. Just because what I've seen in the reviews, the Sapphire is killing it right now on all fronts when it comes to the new RX card. Just for cooling, undervolting, and all that, they've been killing it. All review, they've been getting 10s out of 10 literally on review for the cooling and what they're doing. And by the way, Sapphire is an apparent company of Zoltec, and I think Zoltec's also an apparent company of, if I may be wrong, Power Color. So those three companies make hell of good cards.
Yeah, my 64 is a Sapphire, and it's fucking gangster.
Yeah. So if you guys are looking for a card, go on Amazon, go on Newegg, Best Buy. The 5700 right now is actually the sweet spot right now for a good deal. And the box looks sexy as shit. I like the red design Sapphire is doing on their box. Like, going kind of back to the old, kind of with the big chick on the front cover. Close enough. They're kind of getting there. I wish they would go back to those days because I like the AMD chick that they had on it. It kind of sold me to the card a little bit. I did like their art design. But since we're talking about AMD, I wanted to HBM2E. Want to talk about that?
Let's do it. Let's do it, man. AMD baby all the way. Woo!
So a quick takeaway from this article. This is done by Tweaktown. And they're also the same people that are talking about Zen 2 Plus. So we'll get to both of those. So Radeon right now, the graphics architecture, the roadmap shows that they're going to 7nm plus this winter. And in the winter, they're also releasing Zen 2 Plus. Don't know why they're doing this. That's why we're getting new motherboards. Supposedly, with all this roadmap, AMD is doing something different than what they're going away from the roadmap technically, and they're just pulling an Intel in a way, but not really. I think AMD, more cores the better for everybody. I think what they're doing is an amazing thing. They're giving you more cores for good prices. And they said the reason they're doing Zen 2 Plus early is because Threadripper is not ready for prime time. So they are giving you more cores for the value. And that's why we're getting new motherboards. So in this article, they're saying that what we can take away from this is new Radeon cards are on the way. We all here have been talking about it. It's going to be RDNA 2 architecture. It's going to be running on the possible Navi 20 architecture, which, because they're doing HBM2E, will be able to handle ray tracing. They're saying 8 high stacks offering 902 gigabits per second, or gigabytes per second, which is up to an insane amount, on this article, to 1.64 TBs second of high bandwidth memory. And they're saying memory bandwidth will be good. They're saying crazy HPC throughput, and they're also saying Radeon cards are going to be beast-like. And estimated is the second half of, they're saying the ending of 2019 into 2020. And they're saying the architecture will still do the set. It'll be 7nm plus, which will fix the chiplet issues that they've been having. Is it going to be a true 7nm? They're now saying that it will be a true 7nm process. They're saying that with HBM2E, they can offer up more memory per cards. So they're saying eat your heart out. In this article, they're saying eat your heart out Vega 7. They're saying that they could have 20 gigs of HBM2E on higher end Vega on high-end Radeon cards going forward.
So
You can have
essentially, what
20
we're getting in the future are a bunch of lower end cards.
Well, no, they made the comparison between HBM and HBME.
Well,
HBME runs
No,
more
no,
efficient.
I know, but you see what I'm saying though. Like anytime they
Yeah,
announce
yeah.
the stuff, like all of a sudden we hear about these new, extremely low end cards that like everybody for some reason and their brother buys for like $100, and it's like, dude, really? You got this brand new awesome shit, and we're getting low end trash. Great.
So they're saying because of the HBM2E, which is in co-design with Samsung and Hynix, they can produce more.
Yeah.
There will be no shortages, and they also stated that cards can be lower in price for high-end. So they're saying instead of a card coming out at $1,200, it can be sold for $800 to $700, and we'll be able to do ray tracing. We'll be able to keep up. They said it'll actually, from some of the test samples that these companies have got, it actually beats the 2080 by 10.
Well, of course, yeah. You know, the generation behind. We'll have to see how it performs up against whatever the newer gen of NVIDIA stuff is going to be. But yeah, that's a hell of a leap forward if it's even half true.
And they're claiming in this article that AMD could tap into more than what the Vega 7 was saying that GPUs could be possibly from AMD in the future going 20 to 32 gigs of HBM stacked on a card due to because of 8K and 4K future, and they said that they're not going to be using the same architecture tensor cores as from the article. This says tensor cores will not be a thing because of the high bandwidth.
Don't let this be a repeat situation of like this past generation of GPUs where like the lower end or like the lower end resolutions of sub 4K is getting shittier performance than 4K. I don't want that again. I really don't. It's so stupid.
From this article, from reading what RDNA, so also the same company or the same website, Tweaktown, has also leaked out Zen 2 Plus. Now, what Zen 2 Plus is going to be a follow-up to what we got now, which is not going to be a huge incremental.
Right,
upgrade.
it'll be like the difference between a 1700X and a 2700X, not the difference between one of those and the 3700X.
So each of these processors that are coming out, what they're saying on Zen 2 Plus, will have an upgrade in core count. So they're saying core count and a little bit faster megahertz, a little bit better, but they will offer 1 or 2 more cores per each processor. So every processor in the line of Ryzen 3, Ryzen 5. So technically, from what I'm
like
getting,
a 10 core instead of an 8 core.
Right. So the 8 core will become a Ryzen 5, and then the 6 core will become like a Ryzen 3. So AMD is gonna pretty much essentially abolish 4 cores at that point for the mainstream. It'll pretty
Makes
much be
sense.
It really makes sense, and they said it's gonna be more efficient, and just some
It's
more.
coming right around Christmas when I'm gonna get my money. I might have to snatch on that.
And they said that the reason for the new motherboard is the Zen 2 Plus. That's why we're seeing 2 motherboard lines being released. So we'll have X570, X599, and then X580. I guess they're coming out with, or something like that.
But it's
behind
still
it.
going to be backwards compatible though, right?
Yeah, with everything.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, I figured out what X599 is.
Go for it.
It's for the new Threadrippers.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, because I was confused. We were all confused about that. We were saying, man, we've already got X590. Why the fuck are they going to be releasing 599? Like, 590 has, or 590 has PCIe 4. You know, it's got all this stuff. What could they be introducing that 599 would have that 590 doesn't. And I read, fucking good job AMD for letting everybody know about this, but I can't remember what article I was reading. But yeah, they said 599 is going to be the next gen Threadripper chipset.
And they said Threadripper is delayed until late 2020, which I'm fine.
Yeah.
You know, I'm cool with it. You know, if they give us more cores on the consumer side, I've said this about AMD. I'd rather them focus on the consumer side because that's where the money's at. Threadripper they can release anytime, anywhere.
Well, they have Epic.
Yeah.
Right. You know, Threadripper is a real weird.
It's weird. It's a weird pricing.
You know,
scheme.
it's for people who want, who are going to be doing more than consumer grade.
What's up, Levon?
processing.
How you doing,
What's up,
man?
Levon? But less than, you know, server grade computing. And
Right.
that's not a whole lot of people. Like, that's for people like Gamers Nexus or Jay's 2 Cents or, you know, people
Or
that do
Brimstone, or Brimstone over here that wants to have like 1,000 cores and
Right.
so many threads and a big ass motherboard.
Did I
It
hear?
doesn't give a shit.
Did I? All I heard was 1,000 cores. I mean, where's that at? I mean, I would be more than happy to take that.
And see, Brimstone will go totally bankrupt just to have something like that.
Right.
Bankruptcy?
But yeah,
What?
really-
You get better credit if you claim bankruptcy, right? Like, I mean, come on.
And it's not that that niche isn't there, because obviously there are a whole bunch of content creators and other businesses and stuff like that that don't need something like Epic, but who need something a little more than a top-end Ryzen, and you know, fair enough. But they don't need to release that as fast as either consumer or server, because that's not a very large. It's not a large niche. You know, you're targeting a very specific grade of consumer.
Yeah.
Right.
So, you know, yeah, it makes
So,
sense that they're going to hold off on that. Also, the 3950X is being delayed a couple months.
Did you guys hear that Take-Two CEO is doubtful of a Game Pass service or bringing his games to Game Pass? Saying it's the service is he says it's not clear to me if consumers want all you can eat, like a buffet line, as far as Game Passes go and whatnot.
I hate
like
to let him
Xbox.
know, but that's kind of where everything's going to be heading, and Microsoft is going to be seeing that shit at the front. You know, like they see the value in that.
Because I saw that.
And especially with these developers like his ass that doesn't know how to fucking create quality. So if we're not gonna get quality games, we might as well get fucking buffet-like services for games that fucking technically suck.
Well,
An a la carte
especially because
service?
you can buy the Game Pass and just wait to play whatever game until they've worked out all the bugs.
Right, we were
Instead
talking
of
about
buying
that
it
earlier.
for $60 and feeling like you got screwed because it's practically unplayable, and you could have waited until the game was on sale for 30 or even 20 and just played it then.
Well, think about it this way, Brimstone. Think about these a la carte services. Like, we're part of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, right? Think about when they released that Project X Cloud, bro, and how we're gonna be grandfathered into that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it comes out, and then we can take it to whatever device we want and still play our games and have no issues. You know? Oh wow.
I agree.
We don't know about cloud. We don't know about cloud services yet.
Yeah, that's.
I think
not there yet.
Microsoft. I think Microsoft will. I think will be the bar, and I think everything else will try to achieve it. That's just my personal opinion. Because
Well, yeah,
AMD
because
backers
Microsoft,
shit.
right? Exactly, and Microsoft aren't going to be like, oh, you've got to stream this shit. No, your ass could download a full game, and as long as your service is paid for, you can play it offline, all the way up until your service is no longer fucking void. Or
Well,
no
it's
longer
not
available.
It's not like Google Stadia where they're like, oh, here's a subscription. Oh, but by the way, you need to buy the game on top of your subscription. Microsoft's not doing that. Really.
And
at
not only
all.
that, it better have a beefy internet connection.
Right.
Like my
Where
newfound powers, because, you know, Microsoft
Where-
fucking sucking with the Windows updates.
Well, Barnacles did a video on that, and we all know why that is now, because, well, they don't have a team in place to really do that. We're the beta testers, and they're using virtual machines Instead of using real test systems and going through everything, they're not doing it. So
Yeah.
we get screwed at the end.
Right.
Not that rainbow, to be
Yeah,
honest.
Microsoft, you really need to sort out your Windows team because this shit's getting ridiculous. Now,
Because what's
luckily
gonna-
for me, I haven't had any of the problems that people like. The last 3 updates, 1903, 1603, and I can't remember what the one was in between them. Oh, the Creators Update.
Pete, the creators update, the very beginning of it, is when my shit started going to shit on the Game Talk, right? That's when I started having you to do it. Had I known that's what it was, I could have saved myself a ton of fucking money.
Right?
But
But yeah,
here's the
luckily
thing,
for
too.
me, I haven't had any of these problems. But man, there are lots and lots and lots of people who are. And
Here's
this
a word
is
of
not
advice.
acceptable.
Here's a word of advice. So to everybody, if you are having problems with your Windows right now, and it's been a while, I recommend doing a reinstall. Back up everything and do a reinstall. You can actually do that pretty easily within Windows itself. Unless it's corrupted or something goes
It's
wrong.
actually really nice. I did that, and it's really nice. It works. It's clean.
Yeah, they've made it
it's
really
actually
easy to
it's actually a
download the
lot of
tool.
it's a lot quicker than it was before.
Oh yeah, you download the tool, make a USB stick of the Windows.
No,
install
you don't even-
with
no.
all the new. I know you don't have to,
Oh,
but
okay.
it works out real nice if you do, because then you've got it.
Yeah.
You know, just
Also,
in case.
too, if Microsoft doesn't get their shit together and other platforms do, I'm gonna see Linux boom real quick. If they don't get their acts together.
If
because it's already-
Linux can fucking centralize already, Jesus Christ.
Well, they are. It's starting to happen. DXVK and this other gaming app is taking over for Proton, since Steam wants to stop the whole supporting of 32-bit. Or
Oh, they went
Ubuntu.
back on that, by the way.
They did finally. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Great.
Yeah, because enough people complained about it.
Good, because
Well,
I
you-
was,
you-
They're
you
I was
going
want
just
back on it for now.
I was just gonna say Steve could suck my dick.
Ubuntu, you could blame Ubuntu on that because they were gonna forego 32-bit, and so many people made an uproar about it. They're like,
Right.
wow, there's a riot happening over here, so I guess we need to support 32-bit because if we don't, pitchforks and knives.
I mean,
Pitchforks
it
and
needs
knives.
to happen. It's getting to the point where the changeover to 64-bit just needs to happen. But I don't think we're quite there yet. There's still way too many people who are working on older hardware.
Right.
You know, that there's just, you know, if you've got an old laptop and you're not playing games or you're not doing heavy video encoding or something, if all you're doing is Excel spreadsheets and word processing, there's just no reason for you to switch over to a new laptop. So, you know, until some of that old hardware starts dying, you know, there's no reason to force people to buy new shit just because, you know, software has advanced. And, you know, Windows is still it still runs 32-bit software, so it's not like, you know, it's not like
It's not like you're missing out on anything.
well, yeah, it's not like Windows can't run 32. You know, the new version of Windows can't run 32-bit and all this other stuff. So, you know, there's really no point to force it at this point.
So, Brimstone, we got our Apple Heaven last week with all the new phones that came out, tablets, and all the price drops. Did you see that by any chance?
Yeah, and I think my boss might be a fucking insider for hardware, dude.
Really?
I'm not 100% sure, but
I will say this.
He laid his iPhone on the table, and I saw the triple camera setup on the back. And I asked him, I'm like, "Is that an Apple phone?" He's all, "Yeah." I'm like, "No, no
will say
fucking
this.
way."
Have you guys seen the case that somebody made for it, where it's the
Shotgun.
no, it's not Rambo. It's the one with Terminator. I think it's or not Terminator.
Yeah,
Arnold
Metro.
Schwarzenegger.
Metro was telling me that, yeah.
Yeah, where it's what the fuck is a Commando? Where he's got the quad rocket launcher, but you know it's
Yeah.
not quad, but it's, you know, right in place of the rocket launcher. It's the triple camera thing. It looks pretty fucking cool. If
So-
I was an Apple person, I would definitely get that
dude,
case.
So
All I
the
know-
share, so
All I know is this dude laid his fucking Apple phone on the fucking table face down, and I saw that exact back that me and you were looking at, and I was like, dude, when did you get that? He's like, I just got this the other day. I was like, what do you mean the other day? He's like, yesterday. I was like, no.
Should you get the iPad Mini 2019 or the iPad Pro 2018? I think you should go with the Pro oh no, actually I think you should go get Levon. Honestly, get the revised version of the iPad this year. It's a great price.
Don't get the Mini. Don't get the Mini. The Mini's the Mini.
Just get the one they just announced.
Because like Levon, you do YouTube with these things. I know you do. Like I know your channel runs off of Apple pretty much. So like get something that's gonna be substantial for your quality.
At the Apple event, I know not all of us are Apple people here. There is some good Android stuff. I'll get to that too, because there was some announced.
Oh, there is? I haven't seen a good Android device in a long time.
We'll get to it.
You want to talk to the right people.
Okay, so Apple announced the revised version of the iPad. I think they're gonna call it not the iPad. They're calling it the iPad Air. So that's what they're calling it, and it's coming in at $329. And it'll be able to, you could dock it on keyboard docks now finally, or the magnetic ones, and you can use the new Apple Pencil and all that stuff. So if you're buying a new iPad right now, I would recommend just go after the new iPad that they announced. Now, if you're on the iPhone side, Apple kind of did something uniquely different. They are literally not as expensive as they once used to be. So Brimstone was looking at the iPhone XR, right? You were looking at that a long time ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And stream is buffering. Oh no.
Yeah, it's streaming at 1080-60.
Okay. So with the iPhone 11, it pretty much replaces the XR. And if you trade in your current phone, you get $400 off on the phone itself. So it's selling for, I believe, $699. And with the $400 off on it, you get it for $300 after taxes and whatnot. So it's still a pretty good deal if you're on the iPhone side, because iPhones are usually expensive. If you trade in for a 11 Pro or Max, you get about $400 off, which makes the phone about $800. Anything else outside of that? They announced the iPhone 11 stuff, dark mode more to do. They're advancing the dark mode where you can do more features and whatnot. And also they're sweetening the deal. If you go and trade in your phone and get a new iPhone 11, you get a year of Apple as well, Apple Plus, where you can get, and you get a year of Apple Arcade for free if you buy a new iPhone. And the colors on the iPhone are red, Project Red, Majestic Blue, Mint Green, and I think they have a white and a black version of it. So those phones look cool. If I had to buy an iPhone, I would buy the 11 right now. Now, speaking on the Android side, there's a rumor going around that the new OnePlus 7T is being leaked, and it's supposed to have the 655 or the 755 or 855 processor plus a 120 hertz display, passive cooling, and it's supposed to sell for 600 or like 400, something like that. They're lowering the prices of the regular plus 7 to 400. So they're having an event here soon, and I believe Google's having an event sooner than later to introduce the craptastic where you can wave your hands up in the air and whatnot and do gestures, because that's the future. That's what Google wants to go to. That's the future. You know, the squeeze technology really works. So that's phone and tablet and phone, and there's another, I guess, another Surface coming soon with AMD hardware. I guess they're working with AMD to make an AMD Surface with a Ryzen processor with their laptop processor. So they're gonna have options, because Intel only have variety. That's from reading in the news, and that was from the Apple event last week. So if you're buying an iPad right now, just get the Air. The Air, they upped the inches too, so going from 9.7 to 10.7. So that's about an inch more, and you're getting better battery life and whatnot. And And then we got the releases of the recently the. I don't know if people care about this, but just keeping you guys up to date on things. We got the what is it? The Nintendo Switch Lite. We got that released just recently.
Oh yeah.
Recently, and yeah. And I'll let Gangster talk about the one topic that I'm kind of interested in because I've heard this all day. Some court case says Steam can't sell or stop reselling digital games. I think it is. I've been
Ha!
Court.
Suck my dick, Gabe Newell.
The French court just ruled. Now Steam's gonna appeal this, obviously, but at least there's a ruling on the board that Steam cannot stop its users from reselling of a game.
They can't stop you from reselling games.
Right.
Let me turn my VPN to French land. Let's go.
Right. Well, that's.
I'm kidding.
And honestly, this should be the case everywhere.
I wouldn't be
because-
joking. I'd be doing it. Shit.
Yeah.
Hey,
you know,
Brimstone, you want to sell our accounts, you know, for Xbox stuff? I'm
Yo,
just kidding.
yo,
I mean, I
yo!
don't-
I could flip my shit for at least about 4,500, so I know I could flip yours for about the same amount.
Right. We'll have $8,000. We'll buy two Threadrippers together. I'm just kidding.
Fuck yeah, bro! Let's do
I don't
it.
see why digital video games should be like any other shouldn't be like any other digital property, and you shouldn't be able to resell it.
But you know
So-
what that means though? That means digital properties in general, if it comes to the matter of resale, that means Xbox gonna have to change their business practice. That means Origin needs to change their business practice along with Ubisoft and everybody else, which means they gotta change their DRM, because guess what? These things were never actually looked at during the wave of digital distribution,
Yeah.
Hey, man, you know, if they can give me like
which
a
I'm okay
cut-
for.
If
Yeah,
they can give me
I'm
a
alright
cut
with it
rate
too.
or a percent of when after I bought it and I lose a little bit of money since I bought it, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Why not?
I don't even care if Valve takes a piece. You know?
Bro, my Steam
I'd
account
be
can
especially
send
okay
like
with
2
it.
or 3 children to college.
And I
So-
especially would be okay with it if Valve, like, say Valve takes 10%, right? You sell a game for $20, Valve takes $2, and they keep half of it and they give the other half to the developer. I'd be totally okay with that too.
And then it goes into your PayPal or whatever currency you want to use.
Yep.
I'd be
Or
like,
even,
yo,
hey,
yo,
I'd even be okay with it if it stayed Steam currency.
That too. Or they gave you an option, however you want it.
Yep.
you know how many
be
games
alright with
I'd be okay with rebuying later down the line just because of how often they go on sale. Like I could sell my entire library and buy it all at like practically cost. I'd be okay with that.
Imagine Microsoft doing this. Imagine Sony able to do. Imagine they are forced to do this. Or
Well, yeah,
just
if it
everywhere.
goes with Steam, they have to do it too.
Dude, my Sony
And that
account
should be the way it is.
my Sony account can literally like send most of the fucking scrubs here on YouTube through college.
I think mine, yours, and a couple of others that we know could probably.
Infinite
send,
Retro could send them to universities.
Yeah, we could probably. My Xbox account alone probably could send about 2 or 3 people to college twice over. Twice over.
And you know, people are saying, "Oh, this is gonna screw developers and blah blah blah." And it's like, you
Aw,
know, actually,
Team deathmatch.
I really don't think so
UAV
because
incoming. Weapons
If
ready.
Steve takes a percent, Microsoft takes a percent of the pie and gives it back to the developers, they win twice. They win when you buy the game, and they win when you go to resell it. So virtually, if you think about it, we're kind of getting into the digital GameStop era where we can buy and trade shit. So if we don't like it, and we've had it more than the 2-hour policy, most of these places are, we can go, oh, hey, sell it. We could sell it to somebody, right? Like our digital, you know, the one-time digital trade code, right? We could sell it to somebody, right? Let's say this, you could sell it on Steam, right? And the first, you know, like they can have like eBay where you can bid on it, or you could set a set price, and let's say said person buys it, right?
For flyover.
Yeah.
Game, and then it will be not playable on your Steam anymore. It'll be removed, and it'll be converted over to somebody else's account. And Steam can just go, well, we want our seller's fee, you know, a seller's fee of some sort, which is probably be about $10, and that goes back to the developer and them to keep the servers or whatever maintenance they have. And Microsoft do the same. They can all comply to the same shit, and it would be a win-win. And then what that does is it literally, I don't know about you, but if they go this way, say goodbye to GameStop.
Oh
Really?
yeah,
Well, dude,
Yeah,
GameStop's
GameStop would be dead.
the only thing that okay,
I mean-
here's the thing. The only thing I'm gonna miss GameStop for is finding the rares. I love buying rare games from them. They usually have the best deals on like Japanese imports. So like I'm gonna miss that. That's the only thing I'm gonna fucking miss.
Well,
Everything
well,
else,
is-
bye Felicia.
I'll miss the swag.
Yeah, the swag was
Well,
pretty dope.
It
Yeah.
is cool to go in there and see a nice like little figurine or a cool little, you know,
Well,
I don't know, bag or whatever.
GameStop goes in 300 stores.
Yeah, they're
What about
going under.
how about
anyway.
this? What did you guys think about the reprint of games? Like I'm gonna miss that because they made games available when they were hard as fuck to get. So like I'm gonna miss that.
Well,
Well,
it's gonna
but
hurt.
with digital, they'll be available constantly. So
Not all of them. You can't
Not-
find Valkyrie Profiles original. You can't find you know, a lot of those type of games original. Like that's the problem. One of the reasons why I got like the Last Blade or what the fuck it's called on the Wii was because it was a reprint. Like
Oh my
if
God.
it wasn't for that, I would have been able
hi-
to.
you started
Hi,
robots with
Claptrap. Hi, Claptrap.
Yeah, right.
Go wowie wow. Go. There's a scene in Borderlands where he's like. I'm like, oh my God.
There's
Hey man, I'm just happy. What's her name's in it? The big chick. The big.
Tiny
the big-
Tita?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
she's awesome.
Yes.
But here's the thing, right? That people say, like I've heard people saying that developers are gonna get screwed. It's like, well, wait a minute. All the people who are going to be buying these games
We have taken
used,
control.
if
Enemy UAV overhead.
how would the developer be screwed?
How are they gonna sanction it though? That's.
Well,
the
but
thing.
it's like, who are these people that are going to buy them used, but that wouldn't buy them when they're on sale for like 70% off, like they go on sale constantly?
Well, like I said to you, right? So let's say let's say if we're gonna do it this way, it's kinda like eBay, right? So let's say you gangster, hypothetically. Let's say I have let's call the game whatever, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna sell you whatever game, right? We're gonna trade together, right? And the game, so we have to agree to some terms of service, right? Most likely. So in the terms of service, it'll say the game's not playable on my account anymore. It's going to be permanently removed. And then on your end, you're agreeing to that trade. And and then it'll probably say in the terms of service, oh, okay, we're taking 5%. And then it'll go to the developer and what, right? Would you guys oppose to that really? Like 5% and then Gangster just, trades or buys it off of me for
But here's the thing, though, like, right?
$10.
But here's the
and I
thing,
make
like
five.
the question comes into whether or not the developer would have to eat the cost, and I would have to say no, because
No.
they are agreeing for publishers. Hence why I put an emphasis on that. Publishers to take care of what? Publishing. What does that
There's a
entail?
seller,
Sales,
there's a-
marketing, distribution rights, the whole 9 yards. So if anybody has to eat anything, would have to be the publisher, not the developer.
Well, here's the thing. Like eBay kind of does, and I know it's a bad reference to talk about, but there's a seller's fee. So you'd pay like a $2 seller fee. And out of that, Steam would get a little bit.
Or AKA a restocking fee.
Well, technically speaking, but I think that's the way I feel like digital's going. Because a lot of people want to have a cheap, easy deal. They don't want to. That's why we go to these CD key sites. And you know what that will do? Potentially remove the CD key sites. It'll take
Oh
the
yeah,
CD
it's gonna
sites
kill
out of
those.
it.
Yeah, they'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
gone.
And I think that's a good way of doing it. If Steam really wanted to, and they really wanted to fuck over these CD key sites,
That's the best way to
Please, the
fucking
developer-
centralize them, that's for sure.
yeah, it would pretty much eliminate these third-party sellers that screw other people over for fake keys. Then we can trade between our friends. and pay seller fees, and I'd be all right with that. Like a $2 off what I just, like let's say Gangster bought, I don't know, let's say Near Automata for me, and I sold it to him for, let's say, the trading value that Steam says, okay, $15, right? So he buys it for said 15, I get 15, right? But there's like maybe a $3 fee that comes out of that. So I make 12 and Steam makes 3. You know what I mean? It goes to the developer.
Enemy cruise missile. Take cover.
And we agree to terms of service. And it
See,
just
I
gets
don't think
wiped off.
Steam will be able to tell you how much to sell it for, though.
No, but they could put it like they could do like what eBay does, where it comes up saying what the market value is of it and what they recommend it to sell for. You know what I mean?
Sure, but here's the thing, right?
Allied UAV overhead.
The people buying these used games, they're not going to pay more than what the sale price of the game is.
I was just making an
No,
example.
I know, but like the way I see it going is Valve is just going to have to open up their marketplace. I mean, the mechanisms for this already exist. People can already buy, sell, and trade Steam items between each other. So the easy way to do this is just to add games to that marketplace and treat them as items the same exact way, because obviously you trade an item, I no longer have the item, you then receive the item, so it's no more difficult to do that with the license for a game. And then it's just an agreement between us, we choose the price, and there's no, like if a game is just, even if a game's price is $40 now, if the game went on sale for $20 a few months ago, nobody's going to be paying $40 for that game from a person. They're going to want to pay like $15 for it, or at the most 20.
People are going to be up in arms. You know that, right, Gangster? People are going to be up in arms if they're not getting it in their PayPal or whatnot.
No, I could see it being restricted to like, if you sell a game, you only get Steam credit back, and honestly, I'd be okay with that.
Are we talking about vaping, Brimstone? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, if Val wants to know, so
all right, fine. I'll go ahead and unmute myself from the stream.
If Val wants to hear what's going on in vaping
she's
town.
been worried about it too because of the mass hysteria that like these fucking idiots in Congress are pushing.
Okay, so in vaping right now, what's going on is you have vitamin K, vitamin E, and C. Vitamin K, what's going on with all three? Okay, guys, I'm gonna get scientifical for a moment.
Scientifical?
I gotta hit scientific.
Yes. So I know I'm gonna give somebody a headache.
And it's gotta be clarified. This is only happening in black market and weed canisters.
And people that are doing it in their basements or on their counters that are cutting costs. Okay, so what's happening is when you heat up your vape with the vitamin K, E, or C, what's happening is the CDC's freaking out. They're not telling everybody everything. And I think Big Tobacco is really in on this, but that's me reaching tinfoil hat. What's happening is what's happening with vitamin K. If you feed it to an animal will die immediately unless you give them an antidote. In the human lung, when you're smoking vitamin K, C, or E, what it does is it takes off the layer of your lung where oxygen is stored. And so what happens is you just bleed out. Technically what happens is you just bleed out. The mucus can't, way your lungs regenerate, it won't be able to regenerate because you just took that layer off. That's what's happening with all these people, the known cases that are happening. It's either CBD cartridges, cannabis cartridges, or DIYers out there in the world. Yeah. For instance, they just shut down a guy that was mass producing cannabis cartridges up in Oklahoma, or I think no, it was Michigan. And what was happening was he was putting vitamin C and E and in the cartridges. And what's happening is when you light it up to a certain degree, it becomes lethal. And what it does is it eats your lungs from the ground up. And so what's happening is, so if you can't get enough air in your lungs because you don't have the layer of it to where we store the oxygen, or the mucus or anything like that, you will literally go into cardiac arrest immediately.
Did you guys hear
That's
what
what's
she
been
said?
going on. No.
No.
Does anybody else think that would be one hell of a bioweapon?
Yes.
I mean,
Probably.
Jesus.
Probably. And what's happening is the CDC's freaking out because they don't know how to control it. And a lot of these organizations don't know how to handle it because it's something new. We haven't...
That's why they're trying to close down the shops, because they're trying to confuse people, so they just want to get rid of it completely, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much,
Don't
yeah.
you know that's going to make people want to do it more?
Oh.
Right. So here's...
Plus, it's not going to help the situation because we're still going to have the black market people making that shit.
So
Yeah.
here's the big argument on it. They want to ban flavored stuff. Well, the problem is it's not the stuff that's been tested in the lab. It's the people that are making it in their basements that are cutting costs and adding acetol, vitamin E, acetol, and whatnot in it to cut corners. And the thing with the Juul pods is it's coming out now that the Juul pod stuff is not everything that they said it was. Actually, Juul pods are the most healthiest thing on the earth right now because it's been through 5 different labs before we get it in the store.
Did
So
anybody
it's
else
coming
hear
out.
what she said?
No.
Why can't people just stick to making meth labs?
Oh, Lord.
Stick to what you're good with, right?
So, all right,
Yeah.
if you're smoking a regular vape with store-bought e-juice, you're fine. The problem is
Yeah, that's
that
maybe they have
our
meth
the
first and then decided
CDC
to
and
do
Big
that.
Tobacco, because
Yeah, we can
what
do
do we know
this,
what's going on with Big Tobacco? They're losing money. So, tinfoil hat on, guys, because Big Tobacco's losing money and vaping's on the rise. What do you think Big Tobacco's doing?
We've got a UAV on
Hyping up
station,
all
ready for
these
flyout.
government officials and whatnot to vape. Because what do they know if people stop vaping?
Vape shop, and you try to tell them
Gangster shit.
Start smoking.
They're gonna start smoking cigarettes, and smoking's gonna be on the rise.
I think it's the
And hence, I think it was heart specialists and shit are coming out now saying that vaping is not as bad as they're making it out to be. Sorry. I know I'm trying to be the Steve Jobs of explaining freaking vapes.
Yeah.
Well, Rev's pretty much been annoyed with all the fake news that are coming out about vapes and whatnot, and I have to hear it on a constant basis.
Well, our town is ran by a bunch of fucking retards, so like they're gonna automatically assume that whatever the presidency is gonna say or whatever the CDC is gonna say, that they must be 100%.
And did you see when Trump said, okay, guys, if you guys haven't seen this, have you seen Trump when he says, he turns around to his wife and he turns around, your kid, and he gives her a look, like their kid is already starting to vape. Like he's giving the look like, my kid's been vaping, so we're gonna ban everything. Like, so
Yeah.
it's like, I don't understand. Vaping has not been, they classified as a tobacco product, but vaping is just nicotine. It's not got all the shit that's in regular tobacco products. We can't really classify it in tobacco side of things. It needs to have a new category of its own. Really, and should they regulate a little bit of it? Sure. I'm not disagreeing there with that. They should regulate a little bit of it and give us more on the box of it, personally, and tell us what's really in it so we know what's good and bad. But I don't think we should go and probe it. I think it's just morally wrong. And if you do that, we're going backwards. Because you're going to send these teenagers into going to get it on the street, and you're going to have more kids landing in the hospital. With way worse problems. There's your answer about vaping, Brimstone. Sorry, that was long
Val,
and
so
drawn
why
out.
can't they just go to the store like everybody else, get Tide Pods?
Oh,
Why are you so creative all of a sudden?
Jaguar 3-0. Solid copy.
Like, why are they
Okay.
getting creative about killing themselves? They should just go get Tide Pods and be done with it.
Cheaper.
Well, hey, I'll say this scientific-wise. Tide Pods, if you eat one immediately, it will fry your throat real quickly, so you... Did I just say all that? Yeah, kids, don't do it. Anybody, don't do Tide Pods.
Tide Pads are bad, okay?
You turn into a fish with, you know, when they are on the deck and they're literally looking.
I vape all day, baby, yeah.
Hashtag vape game where we give you the truth and nothing but the truth.
So help you, Jesus.
So help you, Jesus.
Camera, are you? I mean, like,
So anything more on this court case except them just appealing the shit, Brims, the gangster? Is that about it?
No, pretty much it. I mean, there's not, you know, like I said, it was just one ruling, and we have no idea what, you know, what the fallout is going to be from it, what Valve's going to have to do about it. You know, like I said, they're still appealing, so, you know, who knows how long that's going to take. So yeah, this is all just this is all very, very
Hey, Brimstone, do you have EA access, buddy?
Yes.
You should play FIFA 20. They just released the trial for it. I forgot to mention that. We get our 10-hour trial on. We can play a couple online matches when Call of Duty beta is over. So I know we're going to be divulging into it tomorrow for hours and hours and hours. So like Monday.
Yeah, we're gonna be playing the shit out of Call of Duty. Yeah. Well, when does it end?
Monday at 9 in the morning.
9 in the morning, Monday. Okay.
Yeah.
So YouTube news.
Oh yeah, they apologized or some shit, right?
They apologize
Yeah.
for taking away the
So,
verification from people.
they went on a mass verification, de-verification streak, where, I mean, it was hundreds and hundreds of thousands of YouTube channels were stripped of their verified status.
Was that all done in algorithm because Google is lazy as shit?
I mean, I would say yes, except for how many, I mean, like, maybe, but, I mean, obviously somebody at YouTube made a decision, and it had to have been pretty fucking high up because it was so many people. So,
YouTube's
whether or not the actual mechanism of the de-verification was an algorithm or not, obviously it had human hands on it, and whatever they were thinking to suddenly de-verify so many fucking people, like, I just don't know what the fuck they were thinking, but apparently people made enough of a stink about it, and the Susan Wojcicki, or whatever the fuck her name is, and the rest of the YouTube board or CEO and all them got scared or whatever it was enough that they decided to reverse their decision, and then Susan came out on Twitter and apologized for, you know, sorry for the frustration and hurt we caused with our new approach to verification. While trying to make improvements, we missed the mark. As I write this, we're working to address your concerns, and we'll have more updates soon. You know, so who knows what's going to go on from now. Obviously, they're still changing things, but yeah, again, it's like, what was the thought process behind doing this, and what were you hoping to accomplish? And, you know,
We are losing ground. Focus.
like update one, another Twitter post from Susan. Update 1, we heard loud and clear how much the badge means to you. Channels that currently have verification will now keep it without appeal. We'll continue reviewing those channels to ensure we're protecting creators from impersonation. More on our changes, and then there's a website link. But it's like, well, wait a minute. If you're trying to protect creators from impersonation, then why would you de-verify a whole shitload of users? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And if you were going to come out with a new system or a different system or a change in the system, why wouldn't you roll out that change first before you de-verified a whole shitload of people?
Allied UAV overhead.
I don't know, because Google's stupid.
But don't you guys know it's impossible to monetize everybody and regulate everybody? They gotta have an AI for everything.
Take a look at Microsoft. They're going all AI with all
Well,
their
and
shit.
that actually leads me to something else. Facebook declares it's a publisher and can censor whoever it wants.
That's what?
Allied UAV overhead.
So Facebook has officially declared that they are not a platform, they are a publisher, and therefore they can pick and choose whatever and whoever they want to allow to post on their site.
Interesting.
Which this is exactly what people wanted, because it doesn't matter which one. They just needed to pick whether they wanted to be a publisher or a platform, because as of until now, they were basically skirting the law because they were acting like publishers and censoring people and publishing and picking and choosing who and what they wanted allowed on there. But they were claiming all of the legal protections of a platform, where the platform is not liable for what's published on their platform.
So I got a question. The kid that went to jail for 10 years of his life, can he get released now?
Wait, what?
All right. So a kid cracked a joke on Facebook.
Secker Etica, that Boston thing that they were doing during the election, that's okay now? Because they allowed it? Let me get this understanding.
Okay.
Well, no. Okay. So, if you are a publisher, right? The person who who posts the thing. So say somebody on Facebook posts a death threat, right? That person is still legally liable for what they post. So if you post a death threat on Facebook, you are legally liable for that death threat, and you can go to jail for whatever laws you break. Putting out a death threat is, I know it's illegal. I can't remember exactly what law it is that you're breaking or what the penalty is.
What I'm getting the gist of is Facebook is not reliable if I decide to go post something heinous.
If they are a platform, they are not liable. So if Facebook is a platform and you post a death threat on Facebook, they are not liable, only you are liable. If they are a publisher, not only are you liable, but they are liable as well, because they are picking and choosing what's going up and what's not.
That's stupid. I'm sorry.
Well, like I said, people didn't care which one it was. They just wanted them to pick, because they were claiming what's up, Toxic Tom? They were claiming the protections of a platform while acting like publishers. And that was the problem people were having. And it's really the case with YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all of these social media
question.
sites.
What about the gaming then? If they're going to be a publisher, so if I'm playing a game, let's say a Nintendo product, right? And I'm playing it on their game streaming side of Facebook, right? So they can go in and say, "Oh, hey, we don't want this by." Technically.
Yes.
Wow, that boggles my mind.
It is stupid, but that's what they want. That's what they just admitted they wanted.
Well, you know why? Because Mark Zuckerberg's been under fire and scrutiny for quite some time.
Oh yeah, well, like I said, because they want their cake and to eat it too.
Well, they want to wash their hands clean so they can stop getting in trouble.
Enemy cruise missile.
But
every 10 seconds.
This is not going to do that. I think they just made a big mistake. But they wanted the ability to have the final word on what gets to go up and what doesn't, because obviously they like playing favorites. But that's going to come back and bite them on the ass, because now any of these lefties who post basically death threats against Trump or any of these other people, or hey, how about say a person like Zoe Quinn posts a lie on her Facebook page about somebody sexually assaulting her, and then that person commits suicide. Now Facebook's legally liable for that.
All right, I could go with that. I could go along with that. Yeah.
And that's what they've chosen. So
so that this stops the gun videos, the people doing filming them shooting somebody on video. It stops a lot of things.
well, they better stop them,
well,
because they're legally liable for them.
Right, that's what I'm getting the understanding by all this, by them doing what they're doing. It stops the
that's the thing.
up videos and the...
Even as a platform, they are perfectly legally allowed to remove posts that are against the law, right?
Right.
So, like I said, if you post a death threat, they're not, if they were a platform, and they operate as a platform, and you post a death threat, they are not legally liable for it, you are, but they are also legally able to remove that post because it is against the law. Right? So, you know, if you got a video of somebody committing an illegal act, I don't think they can delete it because that's evidence, you know, and that might be needed by law enforcement or something like that, but they're still legally allowed to take it off of the, you know, of the page itself. But they were doing way more than just that. I mean, they're shadow banning people, they're deplatforming people, they're censoring people.
Are they allowed to still do that or no?
Well, that's, since they're now a publisher, they are allowed to do that. But that means they're legally liable for anything that does stay up. So all of this preferential treatment that they're getting, you know, all the, like, now be a lot better if Twitter and YouTube and all them would admit this shit too. But yeah, so, you know, say a lefty, like, I'm trying to think of
somebody really popular on the community said something, like somebody very popular said something, they'll just bat an eye to it. Technically.
Well, like, man, I'm trying to think of an actual concrete example because that's always best. But there was a bunch of examples of people posting basically lies about, you know, their political rivals, or
take a look at some of these news outlets that are
sure.
On
that's
Facebook.
Another thing.
Yeah.
Like a news article, a news organization shares a news article that's not entirely factually accurate. Now Facebook could get sued for libel or slander, just like the.
So what they're trying to do, it's a two-way street. It backfires on them in certain ways, and it works out in certain ways. So it's a 50-50 street.
Yep. And like I said, that's basically what people wanted, because before they had both. They were claiming the protection of the platform while acting like a publisher. And now they can't do that because they've admitted and claimed that they are a publisher. And so they can.
It's kind of like Twitter kind of sitting there as well, saying the same thing, kind of the same thing.
Oh, pretty much the exact same thing. And, Twitter does it too.
And the CEO of Twitter's another one that's not that bright. I mean, college educated wise, yes, but not bright running a site, because they still to this day haven't let us write longer tweets and things like that. And they say we don't need that kind of stuff. But meanwhile, you know, you're sanctioning things and taking things away.
Cyber attack.
So okay, so to take a concrete example, right?
Right.
Zoe Quinn claimed on Twitter that Alex Holowka, whatever his name is, did all this stuff, right? And then Alex Holowka took his own life, right? Now, if it's found that she was lying, and couldn't she go
to jail and shit like that?
Yeah, she could be held legally liable for that, and certainly I don't know exactly what it would fall under, but maybe at the very least like manslaughter or something akin to that.
Well, isn't she part of the whole universe on YouTube, and I
Oh,
call
yeah.
it universe.
Yeah.
With all
Now,
these, well, if she gets in trouble, doesn't it open up the Pandora's box now for all these?
SJW fucks. Yes, it does.
yes.
It kind of opens up the door, going, where's the rabbit hole lie? Because now we gotta look at Anita Sarkeesian. Now we gotta start looking at all these people that are out there spreading their propaganda for views and gain. Now we gotta start looking: are they really telling the truth? Or are they really lying?
And that's the thing. And this is why people wanted this is why all these companies were being called into the Senate hearings and all this other stuff, because, like I said, they were claiming both. They were receiving
Imagine
the
the
protections of a
lawsuits.
platform, and that's exactly why
Imagine
they
the class
wanted
action lawsuits by normal people like me and you
exactly.
coming down the line.
That's why people wanted a clarification on which one are you. Are you a platform or are you a publisher? Because if you're a platform, okay, if you're not legally liable for, say, Zoe Quinn's lies that lead to somebody's death, but then that means you don't get to pick and choose who gets put up and who doesn't. You don't get to censor anybody. You don't get to do anything, because you don't get to choose what does and does not go up on your platform.
Right.
But they're not doing that. They're acting like publishers, and they are picking and choosing, which means
Right.
if you want to hold them to the letter of the law, then that means that they are publishers, and then they are legally liable for everything that is posted on it,
Well,
which
this
they
needed to
can't
happen years
possibly.
ago.
It should have. Yes,
It should have. When the
you're right,
shit
Levon.
when shit was batshit crazy, I said this in 2000. Me and Bripso were saying this in 2010. Remember, we were saying this, that companies should be held accountable for things.
Yeah.
And clarify themselves.
Yep.
What are they? Because it's been the wild west for quite some time on the internet. Like all these companies, and you know what? It should not just be Facebook. It should be everything. Are you a publisher or are you a service?
Well, technically, it is like by law, it's supposed to be everything. It's not supposed to be singled out like some of these guys have done over the years.
Right.
And that's the crazy part to me, is they've been allowed to like say and do so long with being protected.
It's changed outcomes and things now. Think about this. These companies have swingled things. Outcomes of voting, outcomes of things. You know what I mean? I may be wrong with some of the stuff I'm saying, but I'm trying to make a point.
Yeah, no, I get it.
You know, it swingles things. You know, it hurts and it damages people. Take a look what's going on all these social media platforms. Like, you could say one bad thing of one famous person could say something bad about somebody, and well, how can I say this? I don't want to say this guy's name, the House of Cards guy.
Yeah.
He's been cleared, and all the social media companies and stuff out him to the pasture for a while there.
Yeah, dude, and his business, like his fucking agents won't work with him anymore. I know who you're talking about. It's fucked up, dude. Like, and that's the thing. And that's the thing.
The comedy guy? Who's the comedy guy that Black Widow Avengers chick is working with? He's a well-known comedy guy, but nobody works with him because of how he's been made out to be in the industry and through social media and whatnot, and how like marred he is.
I'm not sure who you're talking about, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
I just know this will make slander a lot less appealing to a lot of these fucking retards. The shit like this would have helped that one dude that did Brawley's voice. Like, that whole situation, man.
Vic Magnolia.
Yeah, dude, Vic got his life for it because he's a nice person.
And that's the thing. If they were legally held liable, like publishers should be, then Twitter and Facebook or whoever else, you know, these lies were published on, would be legally liable for the lies that were told on their platform. Just as the people who published them would be.
It'd be a damn shame, Pete, if some of these laws were retrograde, and they would have to go back and enforce.
I think you can. I think you can, because if they're going to claim to be a publisher, well, that means that they've been a publisher, and that means that everything that's been posted on their site the whole time is subject to they're legally liable for.
I've got you.
That'd be great.
That would be fantastic.
Woody Allen is the name I'm going with.
Oh yeah, Woody Allen, yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Or
I was thinking
James
of.
Woods, same thing.
Right. Has been so hurt because of social media and the way the fake news and all that's happened. Like people won't ever work with them ever again because of how bad social media has made it out to be.
And what's really, oh, go ahead.
No.
What's really interesting, the part of the article here, platforms like Twitter, Google, and until now apparently Facebook are protected from the legal consequences of their users' speech by Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. Facebook even makes reference to Section 230 later in its motion, suggesting that it is trying to have its cake and eat it too. So Facebook, like, I don't know how I don't know how Facebook, with their huge team of lawyers that they must have, that they must be paying lots and lots of money, could have ever drafted this legal arguments, because they are literally arguing out of both sides of the law. Because on the one hand, they'll say under well-established law, neither Facebook nor any publisher can be liable for failing to publish someone else's message, claiming that they're a publisher. But then, on the other hand, they say that they're protected by Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, but that only applies if you're a platform and not a publisher.
You notice we're not agreeing to terms of service? You ever, when you sign up for Facebook or any of these platforms, you notice there's no terms of service?
Friendly UAV overhead.
That's one thing I want to point out, that there's no terms of service with these platforms. Yeah, YouTube there is. I think to an extent there is. You have to agree to a few things. But on Twitter, I just made another account on Twitter for the hell of it, for the community of mine, and there was no terms of service. It was just make a username, password, email, and that was it. There was no terms of service. None of these companies are doing terms of service, so people don't understand the rules and regulations. You know what I mean? They had a terms of service saying you can't do this. I think a lot of it would be alleviated. You know what I mean? And we have the right. We are a publishing platform. You know, but they don't state that clearly. You notice that?
Yeah.
They've never
stated it clearly.
You know, that would make it clear to anybody who wanted to say put a lawsuit against them.
Right. See, they're not being vague or clear. Like Twitter's not, Tumblr's not, all these sites that are allowing you to post pictures or whatever.
Tumblr was so vague that people were getting away with posting child pornography, for fuck's sake.
Right.
Like, I mean, it was pretty fucking
real
intense.
Child porn.
Yeah, like
Let's
real
be clear,
shit.
Actual real stuff. Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is a lot of these sites, there is no terms of service. There's no EULA. You know, like when I sign up for a video game thing, or like when you're in a video game, there's like a huge thing that you see. You know, like Borderlands had a huge EULA saying this, that, and a third. Same with Madden. Same with any of these games. There's a EULA involved that you have to accept. When you sign up for PlayStation Network, they have a EULA. Why are these social medias not doing this? If they're going to become a publisher, at least tell me my rights. You know, as I'm entering your platform. You know what I mean? And they don't. And so it's been the Wild Wild West. Now, what's going to happen is I'm kind of if Facebook goes this way and other websites follow this method or tactic, there's going to be a class action lawsuit. You're going to watch tons of people grab on this.
There's going to be thousands of lawsuits.
And Facebook, I said this, if they go this way, or any of these platforms, they just went with the gun on their shoe. Boom, boom, shot themselves in the foot.
First HQ identified. Move to secure.
Here's hoping.
Fuck. Mark Zuckerberg has been an ego trip for himself for years.
Yeah, that guy is unreal.
Same with the Twitter guy. The Twitter guy has been the same thing. Their CEO's been the same.
Yeah.
Jack Dorsey's been the same shit.
Watching Zuckerberg and Dorsey talk out of both sides of their mouth during those those Senate hearings was just unreal, man.
Dude, I don't know what it is about Jack Dorsey, but I want to punch him in the fucking face, dude.
Well, how
his
about
answer-
the Joe Rogan interview with Jack Dorsey, that lady that was Jack Dorsey's, like, you know, I don't know what she was part of Twitter, and then the kid who does the YouTube news stuff. He's pretty.
Philip DeFranco?
No, the other one, the guy who always wears the beanie.
Oh,
that
Tim?
guy.
Tim Pool. Yeah.
Yeah.
The God, it was a great meme about it. It was like, you know, Tim would say, okay, here's this example of Twitter being biased against conservatives, and then, you know, Jack would say, well, to you know, really know about that, we'd have to look deeper into it, and, you know, blah 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 this and blah 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 that, and Tim would say, okay, well, we look deeper, and here's all the stuff about it, and here's how you're being biased against him. And then Jack would just be like, well, I don't know how that happened, you know, to you know, it would just, and they'd be talking in circles where Tim would give him evidence and examples, and Jack would just deflect, and, you know, well, I don't know how that happened, or and there was the same thing with the Senate hearings, and it's like, okay, one of two things is happening. Either you're lying out your ass, and you know exactly what's going on, and you're just covering because you are biased as fuck, and you don't want to admit it, or you have no control over your company because you have no idea how all these things happen without your knowledge somehow.
Are you just that clueless?
Yeah, it's like, which is it? Are you clueless or are you lying? And,
Well, have you heard his answer to longer Twitter posts? Have you heard him basically what his community wants? Oh, well, you know, I don't think people want to read long posts. Oh, well, people do not want this, that, and the third. I'm like, well, how many? Well, we brought an independent firm in, and, you know, in our I'm like, are you pulling this out your ass, dude? Like,
You know
literally,
he is. You know he is, dude.
I'm like,
I mean, the
dude,
fact that the guy that posted on a TwitLonger post should say something. I mean, am I right? Like, think about
yeah,
it.
you're not wrong.
I
You're
mean,
not wrong.
He says nobody wants to read a long post, but yet here's this fucking presumptuous prick posting on TwitLonger thinking no one's gonna read it. If that was the case, I should be able to hear about this.
Right.
Fucking
And it's like Mark Zuckerberg when he was in court, like, well, I didn't know that shit was going on. You knew this shit was going on. You just threw a blind eye to it. Now you're paying the price.
My favorite thing is when Congress asked him, can users remove their information from the site? He said, yes, you can remove the information by downloading it. But you know what? He didn't say that. He said he can, no, I'm sorry. I said that I fucked that whole thing up. They asked if you could remove your own personal site from the website. He said, the availability to download your information has always been there. Like,
No,
he didn't even give, he didn't know. What I'm saying is, you can't remove your fucking information from Facebook. And once it's there, it's there. You can,
Hey,
you can
like,
deactivate your account all day, download your shit, and delete it, but guess what? They're gonna have the backups for it.
You know, it's funny about all that, right? It's the same thing with Take-Two Interactive when they were talking about loot boxes and trying to talk about the shit. It was like half-ass backwards. It's kind of like Facebook and all these companies together. Like they're all talking out their ass, trying to find the right answer. You know what's gonna happen is, it kind of reminds me of when Microsoft had a monopoly for a while there. All these like companies are all gonna fall one by one, or get regulated by the government itself. It's happening. The EU's already gone after Google for $1 billion, which Google is still fighting over, and that's why they're making another platform for Android called Fuchsia, because Android's in a world of hurt, and $1 billion will do that to a company real quick. Facebook needs to be down. Facebook needs to be knocked down a couple of pegs. A lot of these companies.
Mark Zuckerberg has always been like pro control of free speech. Like he's admitted this. I don't know how many
Take a look
times.
at the Facebook. Take a look at the Facebook movie. Look how much of a douchebag he was to his own people that started it. If you really want to go down that rabbit hole, take a look what he did to his own people. He censored them and then ousted them. Each one of them threw them out.
They're capturing the HQ.
At
Go.
least his CFO at least fought it and sued him in open court and won. That's why he's got the mass tag still to this day on the shit.
Reloading.
Because he was a dick then as he is now. Oh wait, he got married. Now he's now he gives the charity one. That just puts him like on shit.
Right.
Let's not forget, he's completely against walls, unless it's his huge estate that has a giant wall surrounding it.
What a hypocrite, right?
I mean, granted, we are all hypocrites to a certain degree, but like, there's just levels that you don't go.
Yeah, not big shit like that. Most people are hypocrites on tiny little things. You know, these guys, they're fucking just the most enormous fucking hypocrites. It's not even, it's like, it's
His
not
own
even
people,
like...
his own people at Facebook have asked him to step down to be an advisor. You know it's bad when his own people are telling him to step the fuck down. And just become an advisor.
Get ready.
You know it's bad.
Allied
When you
UAV
got his own
overhead.
employees and his own high-ups telling news outlets, yeah, we want him to step down. He's losing
Enemy
it.
personal radar overhead.
You know it's
Get
bad.
to the next HQ.
You know what I mean? You know it's bad.
Enemy cruise missile
You know there's uproar at Facebook when you got your own people coming out and saying that
Enemy
he needs to
support
go,
kilo in the air.
like bad. And you know, I'll give one person credit, Elon Musk. At least he stepped down himself.
Enemy gunship inbound.
Give him credit. Unlike
Oh,
Mark
I don't even
Zuckerberg's.
think you should have.
No, I don't think he
I
should
think
have
that
either.
shit was ridiculous.
Secure.
Wait, he
Yeah.
did.
Elon stepped down, really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because he
he's
spoke weed on
CEO
Joe
now.
Rogan's podcast.
That's it?
He was-
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, and he said that he said I'll literally step down and become a CEO advisor. Yeah. He let somebody else take the reins to make it.
Well, there goes all the cool shit out the window.
Like one puff.
He took 2 puffs and everybody blew their minds. Oh my god, a big tech guy in the industry. And he
Oh my
turned around
god,
and
he's human? He has wants and needs? Oh my fuck.
And he even came out and said, I smoke pot regularly. I smoke it all the time. Here and there. Like, it helps me when I'm, like, thinking in my process.
Get
and,
ready.
like,
Move soon.
happy.
What the fuck is wrong with these people, dude?
Well, Steve Jobs did the same thing back in the day. That's how we got a lot of half of our shit. He was on shrooms and whatnot.
Bro, I'm telling you, I think the doctor in Fringe has it right. I think everybody should do LSD.
Take a look at take a look at Dr. Oz, right? The biggest doctor I know. He's making millions doing what he does, but he came out and I would think it was on was it Jimmy Fallon or was one of those shows, and he came out saying, "Hey man, I'm not against marijuana or I'm not against shrooms or anything like that. You want to try some?" He was literally promoting it, saying, you know, that I'm not against it. Some of it helps you.
Capturing the HQ. Go.
I mean, so I don't understand the whole logic with society nowadays with shit. Really don't.
Enemy personal radar overhead.
And Joe Rogan is about it himself.
This is not over. Get out there and hurt them.
Did Joe Rogan talk it up with them?
Yeah.
He did, right on the
Yes,
episode.
he did. Joe Rogan smokes in his show all the time.
Yep.
All the fucking time. Some of the coolest shit we've ever gotten are due to fucking people either on LSD, shrooms, or fucking weed.
Take a look at all the people that have ever created anything. They've all had mental disorders.
Right?
Honestly,
come on,
look,
dude.
Thomas Edison, look at him. He had bipolar.
Or think of some of the really old cartoons, like Pinocchio, or some of the even crazier ones. It's like, bro, those guys had to have been fucking.
By the way,
on
Brimstone, I've
acid or
totally
something.
I can totally tell your Xbox is doing the same thing as mine.
What?
The screen tearing shit. I see it.
I don't even see it, bro.
Yeah, yours does that. The whole wavy line thing. I could totally see it when you load in and everything.
Oh, I don't see it.
You're lucky your console hasn't froze yet to where it shuts itself off and turns it back on. Because I don't know why.
My OG
system
Xbox used to do that all the time, so.
Well, mine does that only on this beta so far. I haven't seen it on anything else. It's just this beta. It must be a bug. But I've noticed mine and yours does the same shit when we're in this game at times.
Yeah.
They'll probably fix it before the before it comes out.
Yeah.
Well, we're at the 2.5 hour mark.
All right.
Anything else we want
we
to
can
talk
end
about?
it if I've got a few more if you guys want to keep going.
I don't care, dude. I'm drinking. It's
I
4:05,
don't
4:03 in the morning. We're streaming Call of
I
Duty.
got about another hour in me.
So,
Okay.
Rotten Tomatoes critics blast the new Rambo as a cruel and ugly showcase of xenophobic
Oh,
carnage.
Here we go.
What is that, decade? Are we ready for the new decade? I don't want to count being 38 years old, so yeah, no. I'm not ready for it. I want to stay 28 forever.
We're in control.
Yeah, so here's some of the excerpts. This massively enlarged prostate of a film can only make you wince with its badly acted Geronto ultra-violence, its Trumpian fantasies of Mexican rapists and hilariously insecure U.S. border, and its crass enthusiasm for rape revenge attacks undertaken by a still got it senior dude 73 years young on behalf of a sweet teenager. As
He's
if
defending his kid. You know it's funny. He's defending his kid and
his
and killing the
Mexican,
bad
his
guys.
adopted Mexican kid, by the way.
Right.
Like, yeah, Trumpian fantasies of Mexican rapists. Like, okay, guys,
That's a little bit reaching though.
80-something
Little
percent.
bit, dude. He said Trumpian. Since when did fucking Trump ever accuse all Mexicans to be rapists? All Mexicans,
80-something
really?
percent of illegal immigrants, women who cross the U.S. southern border, get raped.
That's some reaching, man. That's hardcore reaching.
So yeah, Trumpian fantasies of Mexican rapists. No, yeah, that exists. It's real, and that's not even counting like MS-13 and their rape gangs or fucking beheading.
So should we say MS-13 or Los Logos or any of those guys are
Can I
just
say something?
Trumpian fantasies? Really? Fucking idiots.
Can I say something? It's an action fucking movie. When did it stop becoming more than a fucking action movie? Why are we?
And not just
nitpicking?
any fucking action movie. It's Stallone's movie, dude. Like,
Okay.
if you were like me and you grew up on that shit's gonna be fucking awesome.
Right. It was an 80s movie originally that's gone on for decades. Really, people? Really? Are you that dense? Come on now.
Rambo has long been a symbol of imperialistic rage, and Last Blood is no exception.
That is ridiculous. How about the Joker? You know what's funny? Meanwhile they're doing this, but they're praising the Joker movie.
Actually, I've heard that they've been ragging on the maybe not critics, but there are a whole bunch of people are ragging on the Joker movie, calling it like basically an incel's wet dream, and this is gonna inspire a whole bunch of fucking, you know, neck-bearded virgins to rise up and
Where
commit
is this
violence.
information coming from?
Bro,
I gotta
don't
know.
know. I don't
Oh Lord, God, man, you guys, I don't know, man. This is why I don't look. This is why I'm in my bubble and I will enjoy watching movies and Glender myself, and not listen to anybody else. It's kind of like how game reviews are anymore. It's like these people just write bullshit.
It's
for
also
clicks and
embedded with taken xenophobia. The men are either hoodlums, drug dealers, human traffickers, or terrible fathers. Representation of women is misogynistic too. They are portrayed as victims, plot devices, and worry warts.
Wow.
Wow.
The filmmakers have made Mexico seem like an infinite wasteland of crime and death, and most of the
I doubt it.
Latinx, they actually have Latinx characters on screen are criminals or broad stereotypes.
Let's
It's
say
like,
something.
go for it.
Like, you take this time out to write all this bullshit. What a waste of space you are in the world. Jesus. My God, over a movie, how bad do you have to dissect something so badly to come up with a random?
Like,
Bad.
the filmmakers have made Mexico seem like an infinite wasteland of crime and death. It's like, yeah, I think Mexico has done a pretty good job of doing that all by itself.
Dude, Rambo's just him fucking self killing a bunch of people.
Isn't there a reason why people want to mass fucking move here? Like, pretty
Mexico's
sure
terrible,
not because it's the greatest place to live on the fucking planet.
right?
Fucking
Ugh.
fuck.
Man,
Dude,
you gotta love movie reviews, man, by normal people. Go on Metacritic, you'll see a lot of freaking reviews that'll make you flip about games and shit. But that's where most people go and get their reviews from, is Metacritic or like a Rotten Tomatoes, and they think their shit don't stink. Reading,
Well, luckily, most people are going there for the user reviews now, the aggregate score, not the critic ratings.
What happened to going to the movie theater, right? What happened to just going to the movie theater, watching it on Blu-ray, and just like talking amongst your friends and saying, "Yeah, this movie's great." No, we have to go to the fucking website now and read all this garbage. And then it forms people into, oh, I'm not watching that movie because this asshole on the internet said all this in like a 4-paragraph essay on a review.
Bro, I'm gonna go watch that shit and then I'm gonna buy the movie twice.
I want to go see Joker. I want to go see Joker though.
Yeah, Joker looks pretty good too.
I can't wait to see what
Hey,
they do.
I have an idea. You said they're shitting on Joker, right?
Right.
So what? Are they mental disability phobic? I mean, I can play their fucking game all day. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, why can't LGBT have an M in it? What, are you mental disability phobic? Are you? I'm just adding to the nonsense, I know, but I mean, the point still stands.
Oh, it's just hilarious. Yeah.
So what? Because I have bipolar or I'm ADHD, I'm not allowed to be in a movie? Sorry, couldn't help it. Because I know he plays Joker's bipolar, right? Well, extreme, I guess.
Well, they're adding him to the.
It's some sort of mental, like he has a mental illness that makes him laugh at inappropriate times, and then there was something else too. I don't know if it was bipolar per se, but it was something.
They're also adding him into the Suicide Squad movie when they reboot it. Joaquin Phoenix will be part of it. They said they're rebooting the franchise with the second one. It's supposed to be more darker than the first one. Actually, Jared Leto's I think he got removed. I could be wrong. They're saying now the original the director they signed on for the second one, and Will Smith is still going to be part of it. Harley Quinn's still going to be part of it, but they did say Joaquin. So you know it's going to be more darker Suicide Squad, which I'm happy for. It should be a better storytelling. The Joker stuff before he became, you know, what he is in the Batman universe. Which I'm hoping they pick up Batman sooner than later, and hopefully it's not Robert Pattinson. They need to find a good Batman that does both. Good acting, that's, you know, got good physique, and can play the role really good. You know what I mean? Because the Joaquin Phoenix stuff could be really good if they do it right. With the Joker, even the crossover with Batman, if they do it right. I think, well, I'm not going to compare it to the Heath Ledger stuff because I can't because Heath Ledger did a really good job on.
I don't think anybody's ever gonna top Heath Ledger.
No,
I
everything.
know.
Dude, I think
don't know, Joaquin Phoenix could, be on the same level.
Maybe.
There are
but
people who don't understand why Heath Ledger was a good Joker, and I'm like, dude, that to me was like the Joker at his purest form.
Oh
That's
yeah.
the bar. That was the.
That was
bar.
like, cause like when you see an actor like Heath Ledger play a psychopath, like.
He's psychotic himself too.
Exactly,
So
that was my point. Yeah, like it's pretty deep. You know what I mean?
If you really go deep into Heath Ledger, you find out that he was really fucked up.
Well, yeah, it's like there's
he was
incredible evidence that playing that role like he did was what drove him to. Who knows if it was suicide or not?
Well, it's like,
but certainly messed him up enough that it contributed to him dying.
Take a look at Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey's kind of the same way, like Joaquin Phoenix. Look at the Andy Kaufman movie, for instance, Man on the Moon. Like, they have to be in that role 24/7, or it just doesn't work. They have to feel the role, and Joaquin does everything. Like when he did the Walk the Line thing, he was acting like Johnny Cash even after filming for a while because he's programmed that way with his disorder.
Capture and defend the objective. Securing A. We're holding Alpha.
What's insane?
Well,
what's insane to me is like how good these actors are because they are fucked up. You know what I mean? That's amazing.
Well, look at the look at half of the music we got from like look at all the freaking drugs they took. And how much good music we've got out of it. Some of them have died because of it, but look at all the good music we've had since. From 60s to the now. Like, look at the Rolling Stones. Look at Megadeth, Metallica, things like that. We're getting good music to the thing. Now there's some albums that they did that's garbage.
Admittedly so, yes.
We lost Bravo.
I don't know, man. Like, I think it's just crazy to me that we live in this day and age that these conversations could take place. There we go.
Yeah.
Right?
If you would have told our parents years ago, oh, you're gonna live in a generation where your sub-generation is gonna try to control you, I would have laughed. Cause what? Like we're generation what? X or some shit or Y or whatever the fuck it's or what was it? 80s? 80s is considered millennial still? Like I don't fucking know. I'm confused in that.
You guys are X. I am Z. I'm Z. The new generation is some new. They're calling it something else. Something like that. I don't know. I just know I'm Generation Z. I'm right after X. The 90s people are considered Z now. We got a label. So, there you go.
Yeah, but it's weird, right? Because they say millennials are anybody from like mid 80s to anybody who's born from the mid 80s to like 2005 or something like that. But it's like, dude, the difference between anybody born from like 80s to like mid 90s.
They reclassify. Anybody that's born in 2000 is a millennial. Anything born, I'm considered Z or Y or whatever.
Yeah, see, you go everywhere you go, there's a different definition. And the one I see most often is a millennial is somebody who's born, I think it's from like either 84 or 85 or 86 to 2000 or 2005.
Well, I got told you guys in the 80s are Generation X.
No, see, Gen X is like, yeah, I'm going to look it up right now because I know Gen X is, I'm not Gen X. That's the thing. I've looked it up several times.
It's very weird how they have all the generation and numbers and stuff. I don't keep up with it, so.
Gen X is a demographic cohort following the baby boomers and preceding the millennials. Demographers and researchers typically use birth years ranging from early to mid 60s to the the early 1980s, with 1965 to 1980 a widely accepted definition.
Allied UAV
Millennials, also known as Gen Y, are the demographic cohort following, blah, 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 blah. The early 1980s as the starting birth years, and the mid-1990s to early 2000s as the ending birth years, with 1981 to 96 being a widely accepted definition. See, but that's the thing, like, when people describe millennials, they're not describing people born between 81 to 96. They're describing people born between, like, maybe 96, more like 99, 2000 to like 2000 and something, because they're not describing people in their 30s. They're describing the really young 20-year-olds.
And see, that's what I thought too, but like, it's hard. It's really, really hard and difficult to figure out what is what, because they always move that line. You know what I mean?
I know, that's
like
the thing. Yeah,
the
the
lines
lines always
constantly
change.
be fucking moving, and it's like, okay, what am I? What the? Like, am I a part of the retard generation or am I not? Let me know now, damn it, so I can die peacefully.
Right?
Are you the I call it the better at I owe you something generation, or
Don't you
the
mean you
handout
don't you mean you owe me something? Not I owe you. You owe me.
And that's,
You owe me,
yeah,
owe
you
me,
owe
owe.
me. Right. And that's the thing, right? Because, like,
or the
people who-
consolation generation where I need a trophy anyway.
the people who grew up when we grew up, like, you know, we didn't grow up with the internet. It was there when we were young, sure, but we didn't grow up with it. I mean, I was 15, 14, 13.
Ooh, I was when 1996 came. I was 90, 95 when.
So, yeah, I was 10-ish.
And the internet, I was about 5 years old. About
You know,
five.
and fucking nobody in my family had a cell phone until I was like 16, 17.
Wow.
Or like maybe my dad did, you know, but it's not like, you know, I didn't have a cell phone until I was way into high school.
When
and
I
even
was
then it was a cheap ass Nokia that I didn't get to do anything with.
when I was a kid, let's see, my mom had the brick phone. She was carrying.
Yeah, I
it
think
to
my
work.
dad had one of those, you know, when I was like maybe 13 or 14.
My dad and my mom did, and I got handed a pager when I was little just to keep an eye on what I was doing. You know, if they needed me home, you know, just in case, you know, because kids didn't have it this way when the
I had a
lights came up
pager.
on the,
That shit was insane.
when the lights came on outside, you know.
Yeah, that was
getting
when you
dark.
came home.
Right, yeah. They don't have
So
that
it's like
anymore.
that's the thing. We're in this weird like in between generation where yeah, we kind of sort of grew up with all the technology. You know, it wasn't there when we were really young, but we did kind of grow up with it.
We
'cause
got to
weren't
witness it
exact-
be birthed. You know what I mean?
Exactly. But we are also like, you know, we got to ride our bikes for miles and we got to stay out until, you know, the streetlights came on and, you know, parents weren't quite the helicopter parents that they were, you know, later on and shit like that. So it's really weird. You know, we're a
Well,
strange
video game. Well, if you
between
really want to go into
generations.
history, the video games really, internet kind of came in on the Dreamcast when the Dreamcast came out to a certain extent. It wasn't really a big deal. Microsoft blew the cap off of that when they did the Xbox original, when they had an Ethernet port and you could pay for Xbox Live. I remember that back in the day, back in 2001. It was revolutionary.
Shit, I remember buying the add-on card to get an Ethernet port for the PS2, so you could play one of the 3 games that
Before
go
they released
online.
the fucking slim version,
right.
they had it built on.
SOCOM, because SOCOM had an online component.
Same with
See, I
EverQuest, Frontiers.
Yep.
Let's see, I wasn't able to play rated M games until I was 12.
Dude,
See,
I was
lucky.
Well,
Yeah,
but
same.
I was sneaking around to play them because I got in trouble as a kid playing rated M games and thinking it was cool to, you know.
I had parents that
inform me
didn't care,
acts
so
of
I
those
was
games.
lucky.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
to play Doom when I was like 6 or 5.
But I got to
Wolfenstein
experience
3D.
that at my uncle's house. A lot of times, passing the controller and whatnot, playing these scary games, were done all at his house.
Yeah.
Like Resident Evil was done, So kids these days don't know what it's like to not have internet and to pass the controller around. Take turns. When we played a level, it was more of when we played if we passed the level, we kept going. Once we died, we had to pass the controller over. That's how I beat Crash Bandicoot. That's how I beat Cool Borders. That's how I beat Nagano Olympics. That's how I beat the track and field games. What was it? Gecko, the Gecko game. Back in the day with the 101 Dalmatians and all that. That's how we beat those games. Spyro. That's how we beat those, because we would pass the controller because we were always sharing something. Or it was hand-me-down to us.
Yeah.
My first console that I ever got that was handed to me, you know, like legitimately I earned it, was the 360. Everything was handed by family. But my mom bought me a Dreamcast because of Ready to Rumble Round 2, which was one of those games with one of the best sports games you can get ever in history, NFL 2K1 and NBA 2K1, which they don't make games like that anymore.
Nope.
Visual concepts. And then the Dreamcast fell apart right after that.
Yes, hold on. PS2 and GameCube were great. Many fond memories of the PS2.
I didn't play much of the GameCube though. When I was a
didn't
kid,
either.
It was mostly the PS2 because I was mostly at my uncle's house because he had the fat one. I got the slim one later down the road with the MVP Baseball 2005. And I played at his house on the big PS2 until it got dust inside of it and died.
Bro, like
the big fat PS2s were a tank. They lasted forever.
As long as you didn't get one of the ones that got the sector gear misalignment, which surprisingly we had one of the original models, which were notorious for it, but for some reason mine lasted till just a few years ago. And I think it still will actually run. It just has real trouble reading discs and shit like that now.
And kids these days don't know what it's like to turn on a CRT and it's green and black, and you had to type everything, and it was boo doo doo boo doo to print, and then when you print it was
Dot matrix printers, yeah.
Yes. The hardship of that to type, to ask it to do a command when you were done typing a document was ridiculous. I grew up on DOS, and DOS was not fun. And then Windows 3.1 came out, and then it was 95.
Yeah,
and
my
95.
But the first PC I used was, we had both DOS 5 or DOS 6 or one of those with Windows 3.1 dual boot.
What was
the thing on Windows 95? It was
You're talking about the dial-up modems with like
no. The intro of Windows 95 where it did that whole
it sounded like an internet dial-up. That's what it sounded like.
Kind of, yeah. And it was like and then it went dun. It did like that whole like ringing noise at first, and then you got in.
Yeah.
This shit was great.
Well, gents, we are coming up on 3 hours and 12 minutes. Was it
You guys want to keep going?
Well, I'm coming up to my cool-off hour as it is, so I don't care.
How about want to talk about Call of Duty mobile being exclusive to Galaxy phones at the moment?
Oh God, we're starting that shit now. Really, mobile exclusives?
Yeah, Samsung signed a deal with Activision to have it for the first 2 months on Galaxy Note phones and Galaxy products.
Boy.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I heard it's really good. I've heard the game is really good. They don't have any, they just have microtransactions for cosmetics, and that's about it, and some minor stuff.
Yeah, for now. Give it time.
But I'm pretty much good, man, for this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's all just minor shit after this.
We pretty much covered the whole AMD. I'm excited for AMD going forward. Whatever they're doing, I'm excited. Whatever cards they decide to release, if it's HBM2E or GDR6, I'm kind of excited because it means we're gonna get more
Well,
opportunities.
it'll probably be like how Vega is, where the top tier will have HBM2E, and the lower tiers will be GDDR6X or whatever it is.
I'm just excited we're gonna get more memory on our cards. So.
Yeah, that'll well, and faster memory too, because that's the big thing right now. Is especially with
Now,
AMD's architecture,
AMD
memory
Lisa
speed
Sue,
is what's up.
Lisa Sue, if you're listening to me, please stop making killer style fans on your freaking reference cards and just come out and make like higher like Sapphire. I'd be fine with that. Have Sapphire just make your reference design. I'd be alright with that.
See,
Just
but
have
why though? Because then there's no point in
Allied UAV overhead.
Just have a company just come out and help them. Just make reference cards and all good without
you know, like I've said before, it's like most of the people that buy reference cards, like they're just gonna water cool them. So it's no point in putting a nice cooler on it.
What happens if I want to buy one of their nice reference cards, like the Tony Stark edition, Vegas 7, and it runs like hot, and I want to use it anyway, without water cooling it, and I want it to look good in my case because it looks like Iron Man.
Wait for the partner cards.
I don't want to wait for a partner card, man. I want to get my red and yellow on. Leave me alone. I want it to look like Tony Stark all the time in my computer. Hey, I will give AMD their credit. At least they're not gluing everything to the PCB, alright? And at least Relive works. Shadowplay don't. They should make that they should make a slogan. They should make a slogan. What AMD does, what NVIDIA don't.
Oh god.
I love to see that. I'm good for this week, bud. I think there's nothing more to add.
I don't really have anything to add either, so I'm down. I'm down with whatever.
Cool beans. Let's end it.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching, as always. Woo!
You watching Brimstone Beast?
Oh, that was awesome.
I think he just jizzed himself.
Bro, like, I'm loving this game, dude.
It's a fun game.
I am loving it.
Everybody that's on another Call of Duty game every year. Oh my god, I'm not buying it. A lot of them played this beta. And it's like, I'm buying this shit.
Yup. I mean, I used to be a part of that problem. I used to be that guy. It was like, I'm never gonna play Call of Duty again. And then
no, me and you are hypocrites. Me and you are hypocrites, man. We say this every year. Not another Call of Duty. Oh wait, it's coming to pre-order. Yeah. Do we see a trap? Yeah. And then we buy it. Every year.
Bruh, that's a good way to end it. I ended it with killing a guy, jumping in and doing like a 180 with a pistol. I'm down with that. I'm okay with that. Thank you guys for watching. As always, hit that sub, hit the like button. 3 hours and 16 minutes. Jesus Christ, Pete. This is all your fault.